Ladies and gentlemen, 7:01 now. It's a minute after 7 o'clock. A little weather. And I'm wondering, because I keep looking at the forecast, and it keeps changing in different areas. Oh, it's going to be 100. No, it isn't. It's only going to be 91. Well, which one is it?
I know. We gambled yesterday at like 4 o'clock. I was like, Justin, let's go on a bike ride. And
Oh, yeah.
I was like, a 50% chance of rain for a little bit. And, of course, while we're at the park with Go-Go, it just downpours.
That's not good.
No.
See, look at this. There's not 100 on there.
No.
But I look on this, and there's hundreds on here.
I don't know.
How could they be that far off?
Yeah, because we get that forecast from Ken Barlow at Channel 5 every day.
Oh, no wonder it's effed up. Yeah, no.
Well, then yesterday I got home, and the second I got home, I thought, well, I better make sure I get the AC rolling. We're going to get the shorts on. Let's get the tank tops out. And then I walk out of the house yesterday at 2 p.m. and go for my afternoon walk, and I'm like, oh, I'll be sweating buckets. I walk out, I'm like, it's like 77 outside, Ken. What are you doing, dude?
Okay, it wasn't 77, but it was like a non-humidity hot.
But it wasn't 100 either.
No, it was like 80.
Yeah, that's the big difference between 100 and 80.
I agree, but I was just trying to go, hey, you guys, leave Ken alone.
It was not 77. It was 80.
Yes.
It was 3 degrees hotter.
Damn it, Rudy, get it right, will you?
Yes.
For Christ's sake. Okay, well, here's the deal. Minnesota's Weather Authority.
Yeah.
Remember they used to be like weather people? Now they're weather authorities. Mm-hmm. You know, we're here on the Podcast Authority morning show, and Minnesota's Weather Authority is calling forecast first alert days for Wednesday and Thursday. Dangerous heat and humidity are likely. Dangerous to whom? To people that are sick? I mean, if you're sick, I understand you should stay out.
Yeah.
And stay in the house, and if it gets over probably, 82, 83?
Yeah, I guess a lot of us aren't used to that heat, so it's probably dangerous if you were outside the whole time.
Yeah, I could see if you have an illness or a malady.
Or a lot of body hair.
A lot of body hair, probably. I am so grateful I don't have a lot of body hair, except in the winter, it's not great.
I have a lot of body hair.
I have none.
I know you don't.
I don't
hate
know
you
what the hell that was all about.
It's annoying.
In any case, dangerous heat and humidity are likely. Highs expected to rise into the upper 90s, and it will feel like I'm sorry, but this is not going to happen. Hazy sun, hot and humid with a high of 95. Now, let me look at the other source and see what they say, because it might be 95. I don't know what the deal is, but I just get this whole situation where it's, what are we doing? Why are we doing it? And let's keep rolling. So it says high of 95. The one I'm looking at says today the high is going to be 91. Which, that's only 4 degrees, like you guys are talking 3-4 degrees. Mm-hmm. But it's not going to get anywhere near 100 all week. As a matter of fact, by Saturday, it's going to be 82, Sunday 82.
Is this a Ken Barlow from the future that was sent back in time to mess with the weather forecast? Like the real Ken Barlow is right now tied up in a warehouse somewhere in the middle of St. Paul?
Love it.
Ken, message us if you need help.
I just got a really good idea.
What?
I'm going to stop doing the weather. Who gives a rat's ass?
It's going to be hot. It's hot. It's warm.
We sat out last night in my neighborhood. It was supposed to be hotter than hell yesterday. We sat out in my neighborhood, had a ball.
Yeah.
It was great. Well, we went to dinner with Steve and his lovely wife, Tatiana, from Sabre.
Where'd you guys go?
We went to Layla over there.
Nice.
I still call that place the Sofitel, even though it hasn't been Sofitel in about 30 years now.
I love Steve. He's been...
Great guy. And his wife's even nicer than he is.
I love Tatiana. She is so extra.
Yeah, she and Catherine get along really well. So we had a really nice time, and everybody was over. Saw Sammy again last night. You know what I love about that place? I go in there now, and waiters come over and give me a hug. Like 3-4 of them come over and go,
That's
hey,
awesome.
Tommy, how you doing? Hey, how's everything?
That feels really nice.
It's very sweet.
Yeah,
it is. But I've been going there for 48 years, so I suppose give me a hug once in a while wouldn't be a bad idea. No, we just had a wonderful time going to dinner with Josh Arnold and his wife. I've not met his wife yet. That's tomorrow night. So, but we came home. We got home at about 8:30 last night. Sat outside with our neighbors, had a great time. Catherine stayed out a little later, so I'm thinking she might have a headache this morning, if you know what I'm saying.
So her cold is kind of dissipating and replaced with all right, I see you. Catherine, I see you. You know what? Live your best life, Catherine.
That's what I say. I couldn't agree. You know what? I'm not even going to do the weather anyways. One of the whole reason because it's never accurate anyway.
It's gonna be warm today. Find some water, hang out, stay inside, drink some water. Done.
I turned down the road. I exited left on the road out of my house, and then I'm driving along, and as I came over a hill, the sun was right there on the horizon. Good God, was that beautiful!
It's gorgeous.
A beautiful sun, and it's being filtered, obviously, by this raging heat we're going through.
But it looks really pretty. I saw it too. I was like, dang, that's gorgeous.
It was absolutely stunningly beautiful, which is very, very cool. I think, anyway. So, anything big happening in the news? Yeah, I just don't think I'm going to do the weather anymore. There's no reason to do it, is there?
No, I don't
It's not
care.
sponsored.
Honestly, Tom, your name's on the
cares?
show. You do whatever you want. We're here for the ride.
Okay, you're gone, both of you.
Well,
Get out.
you don't have that much control.
Oh, yes, I do, actually.
I mean, you do, but like in a lot of ways, you'd still have to pay us. You might as well just let us come here. We watch.
Listen to her. I'll sue you.
No,
if-
I didn't.
That's
didn't say
what you
I'd
just said.
I never would sue you.
I'm going to have him stiff you just for the hell of it.
I would
just to make
I
a
would
point.
just work my contract out at home quietly. I would never
Oh
sue
my
anybody.
God. I'm working my contract out at the house.
I'll tell you right now, that is the best form of payment.
I would love that.
Is when you have a contract and they can you and they still have to pay you. That
Yeah.
is the best
Yeah.
payment ever. That is the best 6 months of my life. It was amazing.
I'm not saying anything crazy. I just mean like if you were like stay home this week, I would, and I would take the paycheck, obviously.
God, what a nice generation. I'm going to sit around on my ass and take money anyway. Well,
Yeah.
you didn't earn the money.
I mean,
How can you take money you didn't earn?
do you want me to like
You're disgusting.
go sit in the
all I have
engineer
to say.
office?
Yeah, you should, absolutely.
You know who is earning her money today, though, is Katie Ledecky.
Yeah, Katie, we were watching
Katie
her.
Ledecky, oh, you were?
Yeah, we were watching her swim the 1500. They stream it live on Peacock, which is pretty fun. And holy buckets. They can't even show a replay of the end because nobody's
Right.
in the shot but her. It looks like she's just hanging out in the pool.
It's a hell of a talent. There's no question about that. No doubt.
She's officially tied with Phelps now for individual medals. They both have
This is for what
15.
now?
World swimming.
World
it's-
swimming, okay.
Yeah, they do it. I believe this one's every 4 years as well. But it's in between. It's always in between the Olympics. So, and then next year will be the Olympics.
Does she ever come to town?
Yeah, they have. Sometimes they have meet. They have like I can't remember how long ago they had a meet over at the U of M before.
Oh, they do? Okay.
But I don't know anymore because now she's she's graduated from Stanford and she's living in Florida. So I don't know if they would ever come back then.
Where does she live in Florida?
It's I know she just bought a house there.
It's going to be
not
hard to
long
find
ago.
water for her to swim in there.
I know that's true.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Did you hang out with her much when she was growing up?
When she was very little, a little bit, but it's my dad's side.
Oh,
So
I see what you
not
mean.
a lot, yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
What are you looking at me for? I didn't abandon you.
Yet. You told me you're going to make me stay home and finish my contract at home.
She's at home perusing her contract right now. You have a contract with your dad, or did that expire a long time ago?
He wouldn't sign anything.
Yeah.
I was out of the mix. All three of us got that contract. It was fantastic.
But yeah, so good job, Katie. Go, Katie, go.
That is terrific. It's a great story.
It's wild. It's just crazy. It's fun to watch her swim for sure. And then she'll do the 800 this week as well. She got the silver and 400. That's like her version of sprinting.
Oh,
and there
yeah.
is the lady who beat her, the Australian swimmer who beat her in the Olympics, beat her again in the Worlds. And so, yeah, she'll try the 1800. Hopefully, that'd be cool if she gets first in that one too.
That is the ticket, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
How many years have been now she's been competitive?
Oh, 10 years?
Yeah, it's got to be, I would think.
It's been over a decade because it's been 3 Olympics. No, 2 Olymp. Yeah, because she got 1 gold medal, then a bunch, and then the last one. So yeah, it's been 3 Olympics. Hopefully it'll be 4 next year. But she still has to qualify and all that stuff. So yeah.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, it looks like it might be a pretty good news day because the third highest rated story on the internet right now is a mistake on Captain Crunch's uniform has finally been fixed. That's a barn burner of a story right there, ladies and gentlemen. So I guess there's not a whole lot of severe stuff going on.
Yeah, tell us what's going on with his uniform.
The legendary Quaker Oats cereal Captain Crunch is now 60 years old, and to put it in that context, Captain Crunch was in the United States before the Beatles. Okay.
Good to know.
I didn't know Captain Crunch was British.
I
Is
didn't
Captain Crunch
either.
British?
Is that?
I suppose when you look at the getup, like that's
really?
that's
The
the garb
naval,
of the that's the garb that the British Navy would wear. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, they threw a joke in here. You want me to read the joke, too?
Go, do it, but give me a real corny radio voice.
Oh, it's a barn burner of a joke.
Okay, tell me.
So the legendary Quaker Oats Captain Crunch is now 60 years old, and to put that in context, Captain Crunch was in the U.S. before the Beatles. No one has ever suggested that the Beatles only came to America just to try Captain Crunch, but it's possible.
That's rough.
That's supposed to be a joke right there. Okay?
You know what's funny though is I bet most people take that as hard journalism these days.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
That is what they feel is. I mean, the guy who wrote that obviously was like, "I've been doing my research."
Yeah.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you.
Okay, I want to tune into radio all day today because Captain Crunch's real name is Captain Horatio Magellan Crunch.
Oh, Magellan is going to be hard for...
Oh, I guarantee you 99%. Magellan?
Yeah, that'll be hard for people.
Have you ever seen that video of that woman trying to... What? Oh, she's trying to pronounce the word machine. And they say, okay, how do you say this? Machine. She goes, Makine?
Oh, no.
Mechane? She cannot, until they write it down for her and show it to her, she could not spell machine, even though they spelled it for her, or pronounced machine, excuse me, even though they spelled it for her.
Have you ever had a word completely break you as a person?
No.
I recently, on this show, Swarovski. Like, I still to this day,
Yeah.
that one I have so much trouble.
What is it?
Swarovski.
Who's Sawarski?
It's those crystals. Those goddamn crystals.
Oh, you mean the jewelry store deal?
Yeah.
Oh, so how do you say? Because I don't even know how to say that.
I can't tell you, but like that broke me as a person. And then later that story was somewhere else when I was on a different show. And I literally was like, a very famous jewelry
That's
store.
how you do it. Yes, you figure out a way to circumvent it because why go through all the hassle? Christ, you're gonna hurt yourself.
It literally broke me as a person for like a day.
I will tell you because, getting into voiceover, you don't want to be mispronouncing words.
I would hope I don't. I mean, I try.
I spend a lot of time when I was a teenager and early 20s learning how to pronounce literally everything I possibly could.
Yeah.
So when I went in, I'd look like a professional, right? But there are words, I will tell you, 95% of people mispronounce a lot of different words.
Yeah.
Because look, I had to learn it because it was my business, how I made my living, so I had to learn what I was doing. But yeah, you heard people all the time.
I've noticed a lot of people say associated.
Associated.
Instead of associated.
It's
yes.
associated, yes.
I heard of,
Associated.
yeah, I was like I said, I listen to commercials so I can hear where we are at with people when it comes to vocabulary.
Yeah.
And there was a woman who was talking about Associated Bank. I was
Right.
like, could somebody please pull these people aside and go, it's not associated, it's associated. Associated.
I definitely say that wrong.
Yeah.
I say it associated.
Why?
I don't know.
You're out of the mix.
I've always been out of the mix.
Forget it.
I noticed a lot of newscasters a couple of years ago when the whole Tiki Torch Proud Boys thing was going on. The man was donning a swastika.
Oh, swastika,
I was
yeah.
like,
That's
what?
weird.
A swastika? What is a swastika?
Swastika. They've been drinking. Hey, there's a swastika. Well, the number one word that everybody mispronounces because they put an S in it for some damn reason. I just, what the hell word was that? I even forgot.
Nordstrom is a big one.
Nordstrom.
Yeah, they'll say Nordstrom's. It's Nordstrom.
Yeah.
Oh, because Nordstrom's, because they own the store?
They'll say, I went to Nordstrom's. I was like, you went to Nordstrom.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, the number one, the one is everybody. And almost everybody says lackadaisical.
Lackadaisical.
It's lackadaisical.
I
There's
definitely
no
say
S.
lackadaisical.
Everybody says lackadaisical.
Yeah, because relax and
Yeah,
lack
yep.
are too close, so lackadaisical, but it's lackadaisical. Yeah,
Lack-
you're right.
Lackadaisical.
Also, the one that gets me with the little red line every time is anyway.
Oh, anyways.
Anyways.
They should put an S on it,
Anyways, like
yep.
how many different
Anyways.
ways can we go? I don't know. Anyway.
We can
go
go
anyways,
anyways.
you
Anyways. Yep, I do that wrong too.
Machina? Machine?
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 Don't talk about my machina on this show.
Yeah, there you go.
Chine's a little itchy this morning.
That'll happen. That'll happen,
pool.
ladies and gentlemen. Okay, to finish off the Captain Crunch story, the mascot, Captain Horatio Magellan Crunch, and he'll be Magellan. all day long, I can guarantee you that.
Rest in peace, Magellan.
Yeah. Has really earned the white in his mustache. What does that mean?
Oh, he's been around for a long time.
I see. Okay. Now, for the first time ever, he's also earned an actual captain's uniform. If you didn't know, Captain Crunch's uniform has always been wrong. The gold stripes on the sleeve are below his rank. An American naval captain wears 4 gold bars on his sleeves, but Captain Crunch always had fewer, initially wearing only 1 bar, which would make him an ensign, 2 bars a lieutenant, 3 bars a commander. For the 60th anniversary, they've finally given him 4 bars. There's an upgraded image on social media with the caption, "The internet has spoken and we listened, introducing my new look, my 4th stripe era. I have bigger fish to fry than worried about how many stripes are on Captain Crunch's uniform."
I need to see his paperwork because I think he's been wearing a fake uniform for stolen valor.
Stolen valor, absolutely.
For the past years. I don't, until I see.
What do you mean stolen valor? How did he steal valor?
I mean, I don't.
If
Was
he was
he in the?
underrated.
Was he in the Navy? Show me some
Oh, you think it
paperwork.
might just be a fake uniform across the board?
Because I would never wear the wrong rank. Like, that's, you start the day, you know what rank you are. You wear it on like 4 different parts of your uniform. I would never wear a PFC when I'm a sergeant. Like, that would never happen. So I think we need to check up with this guy. I think there's some stolen valor happening.
Private first class.
Yeah.
Very classy.
Yeah, and after we're done with this, why don't we go ahead and make sure our emails. It's from the different computer. Yeah, we got to shut that down. But I was going to say, now that we've fixed Captain Crunch, how about Tony the Tiger? Because a couple of those stripes looks like swastikas. Okay, so next time they swastikas.
Do they really?
No, they don't. I'm just
He
kidding.
could just be a house cat painted. We don't know.
You don't know. Stolen valor.
Tiger?
Stolen kitty valor.
Tiger? Are you sure? Show me your cards. I want to see your birth certificate.
Okay, it's definitely time to move on now. Thank you. Oh, we got to take a break anyway. Never mind.
Wow, my God, it flew by.
We shall be right back on the mnfatloss.com program. I've truly experienced great success. I did the first 60 days, lost 27 pounds. I was on the maintenance program for 8 weeks, and now I kept the weight off, but wanted to lose some more. So I'm back on the fat loss program, and you can be too. The last week of the summer savings of $200 is this week. I'm telling you, do yourself a favor and connect with the team at mnfatloss.com. Doesn't matter that it is summertime. Like me, you'll see, you'll get to eat plenty of real foods, the foods you love, you know. You won't feel hungry or deprived either. They really have figured out the secret to fat loss. If you want to find out the secret to losing 20 to 30 pounds in just 8 weeks, that's about a pound of fat every day. No exercise required. Schedule your free consultation. $200 summer savings ends this week. Go to mnfatloss.com. That's mnfatloss.com. Results may vary. Be sure to tell the team at mnfatloss.com that Tom Barnard sent you.
Hi, I'm Mike Bryant, and I'm driving my car safely and legally communicating on my phone. Minnesota law allows a driver to use their cell phone to make calls, text, listen to music or podcasts, and get directions by voice command or single-touch activation without holding your phone. Violations are very expensive.
The National Safety Council reports that cell phone use while driving leads to 1.6 million crashes per year, and nearly 400,000 injuries are caused by texting and driving. Not surprising, since 4 seconds with your eyes off the road is like driving the length of a football field blindfolded. And research shows that just 2 seconds increases the risk of an accident up to 24 times. Texting may only take a second, but it can end your life or ruin it forever. Please, drive safely and stay alive.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Bradshaw and Bryant.
Well, look who's here.
Did you miss me, Big Ticket?
Like an open sore Mrs. Carmex, man. Seriously, Doug, where have you been?
I'm running Flagship Ford in Baldwin, Wisconsin.
The fireworks capital, just 15 minutes east of the St. Croix?
That's the place. Anyway, I've come up with some marketing slogans, to put us on the map. Read these and let me know what you think.
Okay. Flagship Ford, drive a lot, save a little. Flagship Ford, you think you hate it now? Wait till you drive it. Flagship Ford, the largest Ford dealership in Baldwin, Wisconsin. Flagship Ford, where the cows are nervous. Flagship Ford, there is no ship, but we actually do literally have a flag.
Awesome, huh? Read this. It's my favorite.
Flagship Ford, white cars for... Oh, hell no, I'm not reading that. You've been day drinking again?
Maybe. The point is, buying a car should be fun and make you giggle a little bit. This is a great store I'm really proud of. You can check us out at flagshipford.com or email me directly at doug@flagshipford.com.
FlagshipFord.com.
The new Tom Barnard Morning Show is proud to have partners like Bradshaw and Bryant, MyPillow, and North American Banking Company founder, chairman, and president, Mike Bilski.
I've advertised on Tom's show for years, and the reason is simple. My business is recognized because of the ads, and that recognition has created growth. What business doesn't want to grow? I highly recommend the Tom Barnard Morning Show for your advertising.
Grow results for your business by partnering with the Tom Barnard Morning Show. Visit TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner.
There's plenty of thoughts that come into your head when you think the name Killebrew. Of course, there's the Minnesota baseball legend, Harmon, who was responsible for many a favorite memory at the old Met Stadium in Bloomington, and many a baseball that ended up in the stands and in the gloves of adoring fans from his home runs. There's Killebrew Drive, the legendary road that connects Highway 77 to the Mall of America, and a day of shopping you'll never forget. My current thoughts for the name Killebrew is fun floats in our kitchen with my kids and grandkids, a cool, refreshing break in between innings at Target or CHS Field. Or maybe a perfect sunset paired with a sweet, frothy beverage after fishing or on your favorite walleye lake. Killebrew root beer and cream soda. Grab a six-pack at a grocery or convenience store near you. I'm Tom Barnard. This spring and summer, enjoy the one Killebrew root beer and cream soda. Gluten and caffeine-free with a generous portion of delicious thrown in. Killebrew, where memories are created and legends are made. It is. You damn right it is. We're going through all these different words now.
We are. What
What was the latest one you
Oh,
wanted to
yeah. Listener wrote in Neanderthal is actually.
know? Neanderthal.
Yeah.
He's absolutely correct about that.
Okay, but we all say Neanderthal, right?
Agreed.
Well,
I
you're
even
all
said.
wrong.
I even
Sorry,
said.
you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're out of
Tom,
the mix.
I cannot walk around saying Neanderthals. I even
No.
wrote the listener. Listen, you're probably right. It was his name is Michael. I go. I'm sure you're right, but I could never.
It's going to be very difficult to get, because I know you say that word every day.
Every day I
How
look at
often
my
you
husband
say it anyway?
constantly. I will not change who I am as a person.
That person's driving like a Neanderthal.
Neanderthal. I love how you're so right, Tom. Brittany,
Who
why are you
uses
acting like
that word anyway?
every day? Every day I look in the mirror and go, look at you hairy Neanderthal.
You Neanderthal, damn it.
You knuckle drager.
Yeah, it could be a dredger. You could be. There's no doubt about it. Ladies and gentlemen, now this one's going to be interesting. I just saw the headline. Another office trend that wasn't possible a few years ago, working 9 to 5 in one solid chunk, is less common than it used to be. Instead, people are working until late afternoon, skipping out early, taking an extended break, and logging back in before bed to finish up. Would depend a great deal on what your job is, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I that is very relatable.
Is it the triple peak day?
Yeah, I usually leave here in my mind around 8, come back at 2 p.m.
Actually, it's about 7.
7:30.
maybe 7:30. Yes.
Yeah, Justin a lot of times will go party with us for a couple hours before it's time to sign off, and then he'll after dinner do a little bit more just so he can get some sun.
But doesn't he have his own business?
No, my
Oh,
husband,
I thought
no.
he did.
No, he works for General Mills. No.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Where's Steve? I used to hang out there all the time.
I'll ask him.
Great guy.
I'll ask Justin, find Steve.
He was the CEO of the company.
Yeah.
Great guy. Really nice guy.
The casualness of you mentioning Steve is very hilarious because he did the Wheaties box for you, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, absolutely. He did. And I look like a complete douche on the Wheaties box, I will tell you that.
You know what? It's hard not to.
Oh, me looking like a douche?
No,
okay.
I meant like
No.
Anyone puts you on a Wheaties box and you didn't completely earn it, it's hard not to look.
I earned it.
Well, what sport again was that?
It was
Competitive
lawn bowling.
complaining.
Or I could, instead, people are working until late afternoon. I'm a competitive complainer compared to you two assholes.
Waiting for
Are
you.
you bullshitting me?
I looked at Rudy and go,
All you two ever do is bitch. Jesus Christ.
What do I complain?
That's both of you. That's all
What
you
do
ever
I-
do.
what do I
Get off
complain
your
about?
ass and do your job and shut the hell up, both
Tom,
of
what do I complain about?
you. Like this right now.
I don't even
You're
complain
complaining about
this.
not complaining.
See, I don't complain. I come in
Honest to
here,
God.
I laugh, I have a grand old time.
So when are your contracts up again? Both of you?
February.
Not until February?
I know.
Oh, Christ, they're going to have to pay you a lot of money to sit at home. There's no question about it.
I love this talk.
Yeah, what the hell? It's reality. Okay, here's another off trend that wasn't possible a few years ago. Working 9 to 5 on one solid chunk is less common than it used to be. Instead, people are working until late afternoon, skipping out early, taking an extended break, and logging back in before bed to finish up. Well, that's something, obviously, that I couldn't do.
No.
Because it's not the kind of job. So is it mostly like office workers that do this?
Yes.
Okay, that would make sense. Well, although the daytime office workers, how do they get away with that?
Well, there's things that don't have to be, they just have to be done by end of day. And so if they can get away with moving things around, that's fine. You know, like if they're working on their own projects.
And then what if they don't do? Oh, I forgot. What if that happens?
Then they have to they have to use business jargon to get away with it. They're like, oh, I actually took on, I had to put that in the parking lot, and they use their weird words and conversations to get out of it.
The term for it is a triple peak day because there are 3 different times when productivity spikes now. There used to be 2 peaks, 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. Now there's a third one around 10 p.m. And who decided that there's a third peak now at 10 p.m.?
I bet there's like some sort of data where more people are logging on at that time. You know, like that's the way they do it with traffic too. They look at how many people are on the road, like they're following their phone. So I imagine like they're looking at internet times and what people are logging on to.
You're so right. Teams. It's just like Microsoft Teams, and it'll tell you every time you're on, every time you're off, when you're working off hours, when you're whatever. It will give you, if you're going through Microsoft or any of their programs, they can see with all that stuff.
So another thing that the internet ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. They ruined the workday now.
Yeah.
Because I would rather just be done working at 3 o'clock. That'd be great.
Yeah, I get annoyed with Justin when he's like, all right, I'll be to bed in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm waking up to him like sneaking in at like midnight because he just took on some random project.
Now, one thing I do have to ask, this does not include like people like me, if I would say, well, I'm going to watch Justified tonight, so I'm doing it for the show, so I'm still working. You can't count that.
I have been counting mine.
Oh, see, here we go. Typical.
I've been saying I've been putting extra duty.
Oh, God. You are extra duty.
I am extra duty.
That's without a T. Let me just put that out there for you.
No, I got it.
No.
Extra duty? That's weird to spell it like that.
Indeed. It is weird. There's no question. In any case, basically, people are using their flex hours to leave work early and beat traffic. Well, so that's not a bad idea. Or go pick up their kids. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Then they're logging back in at home before bed to finish a project or deal with leftover emails. Management doesn't love it because it delays everything. Well, if you're management, it's your company. Why don't you have them do it the way you want them to do it? If you own the company.
Ooh, great question, but it's hard right now to get good worker. I mean, to get...
Yeah, I've noticed, believe me. Jesus Christ. You nailed that one.
It's hard. Hiring right now is hard because...
Nobody wants to work?
Nobody wants to work, or they have their requirements. Is that what I want to say? If they want to work from home, they have the upper hand right now.
Why?
Because
of COVID?
I think just in general, people have shifted what they prioritize. And so if they're like, I want this job, but this is how I want to do it, and they can't fill that slot, then they're stuck with, all right.
Do you think that this all came about, and I had COVID twice, so I'm not saying it didn't exist, but it did come out of that lab in China. Do you think they used that to get complete control over people by making them stay at home for a couple of years?
I don't know, but it did shift everybody's A, habits, B, routine, and C, perspective, for sure.
Is that where this came from, is because of COVID?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we weren't going to be working from home like this had COVID not happened.
So was that part of the whole scheme in the first place? Because coming up with that solution to COVID, that made them a little money.
I don't know. Now we're getting down like a level that no idea. I
just love that stuff, though. We'll invent the disease, and then we'll invent the cure, and we'll make billions. You believe that not only was it invented intentionally, it was set out intentionally as well? Like everything else in the world. I don't get involved in all that conspiracy theory crap and all. That's not what I'm talking about. I have very little trust in the corporate world, not just America, but the world. Yeah, I'd hope that was not to think about people walking around, there'd be millions of lives on their hands. Oh, yeah. No doubt about it. It's like a world war, I suppose. They look at it as war, I suppose. Yeah. You lose tens and thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives, and they lost their lives for a cause. Oh, did they? To make you money? Is that what it is?
Ugh.
Yeah, people in their money grubbing is getting really old.
Yeah.
God, people are just greedy pigs. Basically, people are using their flex hours to leave work early and beat traffic. Again, that's a good idea. Go pick up their kids is always a good idea. Then they're logging back in at home. Management doesn't love it because it delays everything. If they send someone an email at 3:30, they might not hear back for 7 hours.
Yeah.
And if they schedule... Now, wait a second. Everyone I see, particularly young people, walking down the hall is staring at their phone. So how would you not know you have an email if you're constantly staring at your phone?
I have set times that I check my emails. I try to be very deliberate about it. Like,
oh, do you really?
Yep, I'll look at them. I'll look at them during the commercial breaks. After this show, usually when I get home, I'll take a glance at them, and then again, usually like after dinner or before dinner, and then that's done. Then I'm done looking at my emails.
So you just don't look at them at all?
No, not at. Why would I? I mean.
But I just check to make sure they don't pile up.
I also think we respond to emails to people faster that we want to impress.
Oh, really?
Absolutely. Yeah, because, if I have a comedy booker email me, I will email that guy back immediately. But if my aunt emails me, it might be 3 days. I have listen, there's no timeline here for you.
I owe Bernie an email.
Yeah.
Our boss. I feel like I should try, but...
Bernie is your boss? I didn't know
everyone's my boss.
Are they?
I just accepted that fact. I don't know. I don't know who's in charge of me, so I just accepted that everybody is.
Do you think it's weird? Do I have a personality defect in the fact that I don't give a rat's ass how important someone is or what they can do for me?
Yeah, but you still write back.
Yeah, I respond to everybody, though.
Yeah.
I just respond. I stay on top. I check my emails every hour just to make sure if somebody needs me, I'll be there.
Your email box is pristine.
Yeah, I keep it very clean, absolutely. But I think that's more, again, a family thing.
Yeah.
If my family needs me or whatever, although they'd probably call me instead of emailing me.
Yeah, Andy's not going to say, car broke down, help.
Let me email you that my car broke down.
Love always, your son, Andy.
Oh, God.
Sincerely, Andrew Barnard.
There's concern it could also blur the lines even more between work hours and me time, but it might be impossible to put the genie back in the bottle. Well, it's that young woman who, what did she have? Time, what is it called? Time insensitivity.
Oh, we talking about, it was like time dysmorphia.
Time dysmorphia or something like that.
But it was time blindness.
Time blindness, that's exactly what it was. And she was very pissed off that she couldn't have time blindness at her new job.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you don't own the company, sister. You work there.
I do not have time blindness, but I do have really good boundaries with work. Like, I'm not going to be taking on. I like being in the moment with my kiddo, with a sport, with whatever. I'm not going to be walking out of a movie to email somebody back.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
You don't need to do that kind of stuff.
No.
But I just noticed everybody is walking around is staring at their phone. So what are they looking at if they're not looking at their emails?
I mean, all sorts of stuff. I think there are some people that are super attached, that are really addicted to getting back to people immediately. Because people will text me and I'll write back at the end of the day when I have more time, or in the morning. But people are really obsessed with always getting back to people.
Yeah, I'm not obsessed about it. I just kind of do it.
Yeah.
I'm very weird because I don't have any of that bullshit like most people do. You do it or you don't do it. I don't get upset about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And you'll even do that thing, which I appreciate. Like, if I text you some information, sometimes you'll just read it and you won't even write back. It'll just be like, I know you read it.
Yeah.
Done.
So it is. Everything's cool, but whatever. And by the way, one of you should have done the disc jockey thing when I said that.
What? What thing?
Well, if they're not looking at their emails, what are they looking at on their phone? Pornography, man.
Boobs.
Why don't you throw boobs, man? That was radio about 10 years ago.
Ever heard of wiener.com?
Yeah, well, there you go. That's exactly
Great.
it.
Now we have to buy wiener.com. Thanks, Brittany.
How much does that cost?
It's cheap.
There's no way that's not taken.
It's because she spells it incorrectly.
Spells it wrong.
Okay,
Exactly.
no, you spell it wrong.
Weiner.com. It's a different site. Weiner.com, wiener.com. What the hell? It all works out in the end. So, moving.
I looked it up. I think it's available.
You looked what up?
Wiener.com.
Oh, it's available. Okay. So, well, you can jump right on that. That's pretty good. I'm
Jump
very happy
right
for
on
you.
that.
Yeah.
Jump right
wait
on
a minute.
that
Jump
wiener.
on the wiener. Yeah, okay. We're talking over each other a lot this morning, which we wouldn't do that. But in any case, everybody's a smart ass. This is also, oh my God, this is just too perfect. If it's true, Elon Musk might hit a snag in his attempt to change the name of Twitter to X. I thought his company was already called X. Isn't it?
I don't know. It's very confusing.
SpaceX.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Yeah, SpaceX, that's right. But I thought he just used the X as his symbol or whatever.
Could be.
I don't pay attention to any of that
I
stuff.
also think it's his third daughter's name.
It probably is.
Just an X.
Do they have some odd names? Well, they do, don't they?
Yeah, it's some sort of like, weird scientific, I'm not sure, like Nebulon 38-429.
Yeah.
Does he really do? He didn't really do that.
Yeah, it's his daughter's name.
Names
Let me
and
look-
numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me look up his daughter's
why?
name.
It starts with an X. I know that.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Well, I'll read this while he's looking that up. Elon Musk might hit a snag in his attempt to change the name of Twitter to X because Mark Zuckerberg may own the rights to that letter. How is that? You own the rights to a letter? I don't think so. Zuckerberg's Meta has reportedly registered an X logo in connection with, quote, online social networking services and social networking services in the fields of entertainment, gaming, and application development. But for the moment, things are moving forward over at X headquarters in San Francisco. Yesterday, workers started removing the word Twitter from the site of the building, but they were stopped temporarily by police because there was confusion over whether or not they had proper or... What? The cops stopped them because there was a question whether they had proper authorization or not. They did. Why would the cops show up if you're removing the logo from your own building?
That is so confusing.
That's weird.
That really happened.
It says...
Don't they have
They were
real
stopped
crimes?
temporarily by police because there was confusion over whether or not they had proper authorization, and they did. No, you're right. What about real crime? Why don't we do something about that?
Yeah.
God, I had 3 people in the past 5 days, something like that, tell me they were at, I won't say where they were, but they were at a mall, all 3 of them, different malls. And while they were there, people just walked in, grabbed a bunch of clothes off the rack, and walked right out the door. How is that being paid for? Because somebody's paying for all that lost inventory.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we all are. That's the thing. There's always things will always get paid for. We all are paying for it in whatever way we need to.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate that happens. But I guess I understand why they don't want to try to stop them because they might get shot. I mean, there's a lot of that going on as well.
Yeah.
So I just, what are they going to do about that? But all 3 of them said they were huge arms full of clothing, and they just walked right out the door.
That's insane.
I know.
The audacity is wild.
To get back to Elon Musk's kids' names, here you go. They have a son named XAEA12.
Oh, thanks, Dad.
They nicknamed him X, and then they have a daughter named Exadark Sidriel Musk, whose nickname is Y, who is also 2 years old. So they must be twins? Boy-girl twins?
Sounds
yeah,
like it.
must be, right?
One thing I would guess is Elon Musk better hope he's not around when they grow up because they'll probably shoot him right in the head.
Well, he has a daughter who already has excommunicated with him, and
really?
and it's publicly said that she wants nothing to do with his money or him.
Really?
Yeah, I believe she's like 19 or 20, something like that.
Because he has like 7 kiddos.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
he
has a
does?
few. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that. So she wants nothing to do. Do you know what her name is?
I can look it up, but I'm not exactly sure. But I know that I read the story a while ago about the fact that, is it Vivian? I think it might be his daughter Vivian was the one, because she's 19. And she might be the one that basically said, like, I want absolutely nothing to do with my dad. Because he had some sort of, I don't know, it was like a human rights thing, or he had said something or did something, and she lost her mind, moved out of the house, and said, no more. I want nothing to do with it. And usually when stuff like that happens, it's almost like, I'm looking at Prince Harry right now, because there's reports talking about how him and Meghan Markle are living separately for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he kind of went to Grandma's funeral, and he kind of kept a close knit on what was going on with the royal family, just in case something were to happen, so he could get back in their good graces.
Right.
But with her, it really seems like she just said, I'm done with Elon, and this is just a sideshow of a circus of a family life you guys have. I want nothing to do with it.
That's really sad that happens. But I don't know. We talked about this yesterday a little bit. I don't know what I would do if my son or daughter wouldn't talk to me. I would hate that.
Yeah. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, so this is actually Xavier Alexander Musk, who was born, that's a biological child of Elon Musk, who sent in a request to be disowned from the billionaire and then changed her name.
So he gave her a male. Xavier's a male name, isn't it?
Yeah. This, now that I'm kind of reading this, billionaire changed her name in accordance with her gender identity. So must have been born
I see.
A male. That's because they're saying that's the birth name, the biological name, and then she changed it later on after she decided to disown him.
You know what amazed me about that stuff is like, good. You did what you wanted to do. You became who you wanted to be. You had this name, then you have another name. I don't give a rat's ass. Good for you. I'm happy. Live a happy life, right?
Yeah.
I just, man, people are so touchy about everything now, and I don't know why. Come to solutions. Isn't that better than being touchy?
Yeah. Also, again, we had this idea too that like have a real problem, not these ones you're making up. It'd be lovely. Like have real problems.
No, exactly right. That's exactly right. If you have real problems, then deal with those, all the rest of it. Look, I mean, we all went through the dad thing and all the rest of that stuff. I don't hate my father. I didn't care much for him. I didn't like him, don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't waste my time hating my father. Why would I use up any part of my day to do that?
Did at one point you feel like you hated your dad?
No, I never did like him. But that's not the same thing as hating.
But you never hated him.
No, he had mental illness, so why would you hate someone that has mental illness?
But you were able to figure that out even at a young age.
Oh, when you're 7, you come downstairs and he's sitting there staring in the dark, talking to himself. You go, somebody's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I don't care how old you are.
Yeah, that's impressive though, because as a young kid, I wonder if you were able to like really push that out of your mind of like, this guy, I'm not gonna need his approval. I'm not gonna need his whatever. Because,
maybe. Yeah. You figure that. Well, did you, when your dad hit the road?
My dad was just I only saw him once a year. It was a glorified uncle.
So he was never around in your childhood.
No, I mean, they divorced when I was 5. I don't remember anything before that. And then I'd see him once a year. And my dad never did anything bad to us. Just wasn't, it's just we moved and he moved. We moved east, he moved west. We from North Dakota, we went to Minnesota, he went to Montana. And then I saw him once a year, and now I'll talk to him every couple months. And I had daydreams when I was younger of seeing other people's dads and going, wow, that'd be cool to have.
Yeah.
But I don't have, I look at my dad as he is who he is, and I have love in my heart for my dad. Absolutely.
Well, see, that's good.
Yeah, I do love my dad in whatever capacity. I have to meet him where he's at, and I'm fine with that. And I also look at my daughter and my husband, and it makes me so happy that they are so close.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
he just sent me a video this morning of them together and dancing, and I'm just that just fills my heart. So just I don't have hate for sure. Not.
Well, because it's a waste of time.
Yeah, and
hating someone's a waste of time.
But I used to have hate for the relationship the way I wanted it to be, but that's not fair to put that on somebody else.
No, that's fine. It all worked. You did very well. It's kind of funny because what you just talked about. Yesterday, Fawny had to come in and do the show.
Yeah.
Oh, she left her stuff behind, did she?
It's pretty cute. She's got a big bucket of crafts on the table.
And what I loved about yesterday, and I didn't even think about this until you just brought this up, she came in and she came over and gave me this big hug. And then she turned around, took 2 steps, came back and gave me another hug.
Oh.
See, that's what's important to me.
And
I love that stuff.
She's got a great dad. I mean, her and her dad, Dan. I don't know.
Yeah.
I knew you're not going. You know what I mean? But they love. That's an extension of you. That's an extension of Alex. That's an extension of Dan. Her being so loving is an extension of all these great adults that want her. That show that love. I mean, giving that affection is so amazing. That's amazing.
Catherine just texted me. Why'd you leave me out? Okay, way to go.
Catherine.
Okay. Catherine, you're out of the mix.
Go take an Advil.
She's going to need one today because like I said, I don't even know what time she came home because she was sitting out in the little neighborhood circle there for
The cul-de-sac party.
a cul-de-sac. After I went to bed, she was still out there.
You and I have to live vicariously through hers. That's why we're like,
Oh, I think that's true.
go hard, Catherine.
It's not a bad plan. We got to take a break. Be right back in a couple of minutes, ladies and gentlemen, on MyPillow's 20-year anniversary with over 80 million MyPillows sold. Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank each and every one of you by giving you the lowest price in history on their MyPillows. Queen-size MyPillow's regular price is $69.98, now only $19.98, and just $10 more for the king size. MyPillow's patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs to help you get the best sleep ever. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio podcast square to get Mike's amazing offer on the queen-size MyPillow for only $19.98. Enter promo code TOM. In addition to this special anniversary offer on the MyPillows, you'll also receive deep discounts on all MyPillow products, such as bed sheets, mattress toppers, pet beds, mattresses, My Slippers, and so much more. Take advantage of the biggest sale in MyPillow history. Go to MyPillow.com and use promo code TOM to take advantage of Mike's special offer on his MyPillow. That's MyPillow.com, promo code TOM.
Hi, I'm Mike Bryant, and I'm driving my car safely and legally communicating on my phone. Minnesota law allows a driver to use their cell phone to make calls, text, listen to music or podcasts, and get directions by voice command or single-touch activation without holding your phone. Violations are very expensive.
The National Safety Council reports that cell phone use while driving leads to 1.6 million crashes per year, and nearly 400,000 injuries are caused by texting and driving. Not surprising, since 4 seconds with your eyes off the road is like driving the length of a football field blindfolded. And research shows that just 2 seconds increases the risk of an accident up to 24 times. Texting may only take a second, but it can end your life or ruin it forever. Please drive safely and stay alive.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Bradshaw and Bryant.
Why should your business bank with North American Banking Company? Here's Corey Wisco of the Welshire.
It's difficult to put in words the relationship that we have with North American Banking Company. You know, they've been there from the very beginning with our vision of providing quality dementia care for individuals, and they've been a partner all the way through. They really are there for us.
For more information about North American Banking Company, go to nabanco.com. That's nabanco.com. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. We've been hearing about the new technology offered at Twin Cities Premier Health for the treatment of ED. This is one of those topics that can get uncomfortable to talk about, but the truth is, if new technology can improve your life by treating the root cause of most erectile dysfunction, why wouldn't we want to talk about it? Look, I've been going there I think I'm on my 6th treatment this week. Things go very well. It takes about 10, 15 minutes, not a big deal at all. It's a non-invasive, non-surgical, highly effective science-based procedure that creates an increase in blood flow and helps create new blood vessels by treating the root cause of most erectile dysfunction. If, like so many of my listeners, you aren't interested in continuing to take a pill to create a pharmaceutically induced erection and wipe all the spontaneity out, reach to the Twin Cities Premier Health like I did and right now receive this special offer. A free treatment and a free consultation when you book today. This is valued at $800, 952-395-4346. That's my unique phone number, 952-395-4346 for their office. Or go to TwinCitiesPremierHealth.com. Be sure to tell them Tom Barnard sent you. Somebody call and tell her it's entirety, not entirety. We're going to correct everyone today.
I will not do that.
I won't either.
Well, I have to take care of everything anyway, so I'll do it too. Thank you very much.
She could go on and say, and I'd like extra almonds, and I would
almonds, say... yes, there you get the almonds going. Kristyn Burtt. What's happening, Kristyn?
Very good, Tim. Everything's great here.
So, Timmy, how's everything going back in the Twin Cities?
We're just calling everyone their wrong name.
Indeed. We just talk about people mispronouncing words and things like that.
Yes, it's Swarovski.
Swarovski. Oh, you heard Swarovski.
I do. I listen to
Okay, here we go. Swarovski.
You even phonetically sent it to me, which I so appreciate. But at that point, my brain had broke. I'm done with that word. It's dead to me. I literally have a phone case that I bought from them, but it's done. Nope, never.
Never again.
There you go.
That was a reenactment of what happened to my mouth that day.
So she was doing traffic right there. That's
Nailed
what it was right there. By the way, don't ever do that again with your arms. When you put your arms behind your back, your shoulders are literally about this wide. Look at that. You can stretch out.
Yeah, I'm double jointed
Oh,
wow, look at that.
That was phenomenal.
Oh,
They
my.
bend the opposite way. I know, it's so gross.
Nope.
I know, and like when I bend over, and you put your shoulders like up over your head,
Yeah.
mine go like, yeah.
You were just doing
I'm
that. And
hyper flexible.
because of your hair, your shoulders completely disappeared behind you when your shoulders
Yeah.
are gone.
I don't even know I do it. I do it to stretch. I just had a cat in my lap, so
It's
she's
gotta
been
feel
sitting there
good.
for a long time.
That's
She's
gotta
right
feel.
behind me.
That's gotta feel great though to be able to stretch out like that.
It does actually, and
Sure.
it's like you get up in the morning, you like crack your back, stretch out.
I understand.
As you get older though, like being super flexible, you think is like a bonus, but it's not. You have to make sure that like your core is strong and everything else because you
sure,
can start
yeah.
getting joints out of whack.
I suppose.
It reminds me of an old street joke I heard as a kid where there was a woman laying on a beach with no arms and legs, and there was a guy who walked by, and she goes, "Excuse me, sir, but could you screw me?" And he picked her up and threw her in the water and said, "There, now you're screwed."
There you go. Actually, that joke's better when you can use the F word.
I know it is. I didn't want it. Yeah.
But you couldn't do it. I understand.
It's the weirdest.
I know.
joke.
Like, I looked at Britt's face and I was like,
Now
not
you're
just me.
effed. Nothing wrong with now you're screwed. Now you're effed.
Like, it's just, I like sitting here going, well, did she get out? In my mind.
I don't think so. I'm thinking maybe not.
Oh,
It's a weird looking dolphin.
rest in peace, lady.
Good God. So, Kristyn, save us.
If I can.
I don't know if we can.
What are you doing?
I don't know if I can. I'm crying. That joke was so bad.
It was a pretty bad joke.
Okay, well, we can talk about it's Shark Week, or as we call it from New England, Shack Week.
Shack Week.
Shack Week.
Don't do that. I miss them so much. I got to get to Boston now because you did that. Because I love Boston.
Gotta go out and get your lobster roll and some steamas.
Speaking of that, by the way, that poor guy that fell off his wakeboard and drowned in the ocean.
The
Just,
paddleboard. That was actually
paddleboard, yeah.
Barack Obama's personal chef.
Oh, was it? Because I know the call came from his house, but I didn't realize that his house takes up the entire Martha's Vineyard Island now. I had no idea.
Right.
That house has got...
compound.
What's that?
If you live on Martha's Vineyard, you have a compound.
Oh, that's a compound. There's
That's
no...
a compound.
Did you see the picture of it?
It's beautiful.
Holy Hannah. What is it? It's got to be like 30,000 square feet.
That's what happens when you make a lot of money on the speaking circuit.
Gee, how did that ever happen? Oh, he wrote what? Didn't he write like 4 or 5 books too? Didn't
Yeah, and they've all been bestsellers. And then you just go out and you speak to corporations and they pay you a few $1 million to show up. I mean, that's what a lot of, other than George W., I think like that's what a lot of presidents do. I mean, Donald Trump has made a lot of money on the speaking circuit, speaking to some of the conservative conventions that are out there. Donald Trump does it. Bill Clinton does it. I think the only one is George W., who's like painting puppies and kitties in his art studio.
Yeah, because he already was a billionaire, wasn't he?
He was. He comes from generational wealth.
Right,
and if you go and look at the compound that they have up in Kennebunkport, Maine.
Oh, I bet.
Yes, out on Walker's Point. It is beautiful.
I would imagine that I just saw the overhead view of the compound, the Obama compound. That's a very impressive residence, I'll tell you. So what are they there, like 3 weeks a year?
Probably. I mean, honestly, because I grew up near Walker Point. I grew up in Kennebunk, Maine. And the president, at the time it was George Sr., would come in maybe 2 weeks a year. We would know because the roads would become one way, obviously for Secret Service. The Coast Guard would be monitoring the open water. You'd be a lot of helicopters coming over. And then that was kind of it. And then when George W. was in office, same thing, just a few weeks a year, that kind of thing. But it is kind of like the family gathering place. I think it's different too now that Barbara Bush is no longer here and George Sr. or HW, it's changed a bit.
No question about it. But yeah, you look at places like that and you go, well, that worked out, right?
It works out to be president. It is a money maker for you.
Lots of, I do understand. I didn't know this, but I know somebody in the publishing industry. They already know how many copies of those books are going to sell before they even write them.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
They know
can
exactly.
Forecast it?
Yeah, because they know who their audience is.
Ah.
That's very
Donald
smart.
Trump has not written a memoir yet.
What's he going to write about?
There's a lot to write about.
I would say, actually, yeah.
I
was like, there's a lot to write about. I just don't know if he wants to bother to give his side of the story because it may be different than some of the facts.
Oh, you mean like on both sides? They both lie their ass off?
Everybody lies.
That's what they do now. They just lie their ass off.
But he does. I will say, Donald Trump has his own imprint, and he does some self-publishing. He's done a couple of books. He's done letters to Donald Trump, and then he did, I think, photographs of his time in office, and then he sells them for like $100, and he makes a lot lot so
Art of the Deal was the first one, wasn't it? I think it was called Art of the Deal.
Oh, that's going way back.
Yeah, it's
to
way
like
back,
his
yeah.
actual books, but I'm talking about post-presidency.
Oh,
He
okay.
had 2 books in his own imprint, so he self-publishes.
Oh, he does? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So letters to Donald Trump, and the letters to Donald Trump one, I don't know if people realize this, they were kind of controversial because he took letters that like celebrities had written to him and Princess Di, like way back in the day when people liked Donald Trump and he wasn't this controversial figure. And he's like, see, people loved me. And he put them in a book together. And he's like, look, Oprah loved me. Everybody loved me.
Yeah, he's big on that everybody loves me stuff, isn't he?
He does. I think ego-wise, there's some like wounded inner child there about like being loved, because honestly, not everybody's gonna like all of us at every time, and you can't please everyone. But he's weirdly a people pleaser.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I really wish we had an interesting field coming up, but we really don't. It's the same old billionaire bullshit.
No, I mean, it's really interesting if you're following, because the Republican debate is coming up in August, and Donald Trump is threatening not to show up.
Right.
You have to sign a loyalty pledge, which means that if you don't get the nomination, you will support whomever the nominee is. Chris Christie doesn't want to sign the loyalty pledge because he doesn't want to support Donald Trump. And then you're going to have like DeSantis. Mike Pence, I don't even think is making it to the stage under the current criteria. So it's a really like, it's going to be a weird year. We're all going to deal with it.
Love him or hate him, I do like when he makes you realize some of these rules are fake. Like, no, I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to do it. Like, because you just assume they have to go to these, conventions. They have to sign whatever this weird loyalty pledge thing. Like, you assume all these things have to happen. But sometimes Donald Trump's do be doing things where I go, oh, is that just not necessary? He's like, when they were like, we want your financial tax. He's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, love him or hate him, there's times where you go, oh, that rule is fake? I didn't know that.
No, that's kind of how it is.
I'm not going to follow the rules. He's a rule breaker.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. I'd have a hell of a time telling you who I'm going to end up voting for, because my God. Although you look back, have you ever studied the presidency, United States presidency? You ever done a lot of reading on it?
No, I rounded up and I thought, I was like, whatever, how many presidents do we have? 50? And then you guys all chastised me because it was 46 instead of 50. I was shocked I was close. Okay?
You don't remember? Because Donald Trump had like 45.
Right.
Yeah. I just forgot. I just knew it was around that number.
Somewhere in there.
Well, I was looking for a decent human being, and I did run across Jimmy Carter, because even though he wasn't a great president, he seems like a very decent person. I've never met him. I talked to him on the phone once. Oh, and is he as nice a guy as he seems?
He is lovely.
That's what it seems like.
He is so sweet, and he probably is the best president in terms, and I'm not talking about it in terms of his policies. I'm talking about it as a human being.
I agree.
Just what he's done with Habitat for Humanity. He is he's a lovely person.
And his wife is too.
Yes,
They're very
Rosalind.
nice people. Yeah, very, very nice
both
people.
Still with us.
What are you doing now?
I have a cat who is exiting the building.
You're letting the cat out?
Did you see her yesterday? She was trying to jump up here in the middle of my segment. I kept on trying to cover her.
I did see that, yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's
That's
a
pretty
brat.
terrific. But no, I mean, it's you go back over time. If you ever get the time, if you got a week or two off or whatever, go back and do some research on, world leaders, not just presidents, but world leaders. They are some of the worst people ever born. It's just amazing. But I suppose that massive ego is what drives them to become president in the first place.
Yeah,
or
you couldn't.
Ruler or whatever.
I wouldn't want to be in office, and I don't even want to be on a local level. It's so toxic these days with social media.
Listen, Jesse Ventura was the governor.
I still can't believe he got elected governor. That just amazing. It's because Sansevier voted for him. That's why.
That's it, yeah.
That's what did it. Pushed him over the top.
Turn the tide, Sansevier.
Indeed. So, what's going on in Hollywood?
Well, we were talking about Shark Week. So you'll be hearing a lot about cocaine sharks. So that seems to be like the big title this week. Which I think Hollywood, if they didn't have a writer's strike going on, would be writing Cocaine Sharks right now as the sequel to Cocaine Bear. But it's on Discovery. Jason Momoa is the host this time around. So I guess he got super involved. He's like doing all the interviews with the scientists, and he really was excited about Cocaine Sharks. So
that's made up.
Yeah, the Cocaine Sharks, if you want to watch it, that's on Wednesday night. That's tomorrow night.
But you do know the Cocaine Sharks that is made up. Sharks do not eat bales of cocaine.
They are saying that they have seen it off the coast of Florida.
BS. All the stuff that's there to eat in the ocean, and they're going to go try to, here, let me open up this wrapper and see what's in there.
Yeah, this chemical that's got no good smelling things in it. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's a good story,
I will
though.
watch it and report back to you.
Well, thank you. Yes, report back to me, Kristyn, because...
About the cocaine sharks and how they are busy going crazy off the coast of Florida.
Honest to God, it'd be like, hey, Catherine just made a great dinner, mashed potatoes, gravy, a little steak. I think I'll open up this, whatever that is over there.
Yeah, this bleach Clorox in the cupboard.
Yes, I'll drink that instead.
Like, that's what you'd be,
It's gonna make a good movie, though. It's gonna be a
Oh,
good
no, I agree.
Hollywood movie.
I'm sure it gets the sharks all jacked up, and that'll make it more exciting.
Did you see Cocaine Bear?
Yes.
No, I didn't. It's just not my jam. I mean, I know it was funny.
It was funny.
That's just not my, like...
It's just campy. And if they keep with the camp, that's what I think. If you can stick with the camp, it's good.
I finally saw Sharknado, actually, with Andy.
I love that, too.
We went to the Mystery Science Theater version of it. So they were, like, talking. Like, I can do that. But I can't watch camp for camp. Like, if it's made to be camp, no. If it's not made to be camp, I can watch it. Like, that's like when things are so bad, they're good. But when they're intentionally bad, that's not my jam.
Got to tell you honestly, you know who drove me to watch it? Catherine.
Yeah.
She wanted to watch Cocaine Bear, so we did.
That booze hound.
Yeah, that booze
I
hound.
love Cocaine Bear. Because I went
good.
on like this super rainy night in Los Angeles too. It was a preview of it, and I had no expectations, and it was delightful.
Yeah, and like I love group activities. I love that you did that, and I don't hate on people for loving those kind of movies as groups together. It's like how some people would look at me like with Taylor Swift or the Barbie movie. Like, that's my jam, and I love that other people are like getting in big groups and all your guys' Cocaine Bear shirts. Love it all for you guys.
It was good. It was fun to watch.
Yes.
It was fun to watch.
It was, yeah.
I saw Haunted Mansion last night too, which is coming out this weekend.
Yeah.
With Disney. And that was another movie I went in with really low expectations, especially just after the hype of this big weekend with Barbie and Oppenheimer. And I will tell you, it was, for what it was, just taking it on a surface level, enjoyable. It was an enjoyable, breezy 2 hours.
That's awesome. And what age kiddo do you think would like it?
This is not okay. First of all, it's a PG-13 movie.
Really?
So if your kids are scared on the Haunted Mansion ride, this is a little bit more terrifying. So I would, gauge that maybe 10 and up for this PG-13 film. And it really is just the scary images. There's nothing in terms of like sex. There's no violence. It's just that, they're all of these ghosts that come out and they've got an axe with them. So, you might not want to deal with the nightmares after it if you bring your 6 or 7 year olds.
No, I can understand that. Now, is the same Haunted Mansion as before, just a redo of it?
Yes. So it is a reboot of the Haunted Mansion movie that came out previously, of course. But I will say it's fun for people who are Disney folks. Disney adults will like this. There's a lot of imagery from the ride. You'll go, oh, yeah. Oh, I remember that. And so that's kind of fun. There's a lot of great cameos in this. Danny DeVito's in it. Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. And they just kind of like pop up in these like quirky characters. And it's kind of fabulous that way.
Yeah, I agree.
And what I like, Disney was really hoping to make a big splash with this. They had planned on a Disneyland premiere out by the ride. All the celebrities come out, but the day before the SAG strike was announced, so they had to turn it into a fan event, and then Disney characters walk the red carpet instead. So they're like, "Yay! Look, it's Cruella de Vil here at the Disneyland red carpet for Haunted Mansion."
Yeah. Have you guys ridden Haunted Mansion before?
No, I have never. Is it scary?
No, it's lame. The ride sucks.
Boo to
But
the
when
ride.
you're little, did you ride it when you were little, Rudy? Like
No,
when you were like,
no, but even like my daughter and my niece. I mean, my niece was 8 when we went on it. My daughter was 14 at the time. So yeah, so this past summer, and even they were like, okay, like whatever. Well, you know what the problem is? We had already done the Guardians of the Galaxy, and we had already done Avatar, and we had already done Tron. So by the time you get to Haunted Mansion, you're just like, okay, wow, there's a floaty guy. Great. Like, what a waste of an hour in a line.
This is one of the original rides that Walt Disney created. So it goes back. It was started here in Disneyland. Obviously moved over to Magic Kingdom, but they don't do a lot. You know what I mean? It's one of those rides that when it's like blazing hot, you're like, let's go in the Haunted Mansion. It'll be nice and cool for the next 20 minutes while I'm here in line. So, but I think, for the classic Disney adults, they always prefer the rides that Walt built.
Yeah, I mean, but like that, the Peter Pan, the Pirates of the Caribbean, it was just so lackluster. Because when you finally got to those big rides, you were like blown away.
I bet.
Yeah, but the Peter Pan ride, we waited an hour and 45 minutes to get on that thing. And then it took, I don't know, 3.5 minutes to cruise in the ship that just sort of floats above England. And then you just get done and you come out the other side and you're like, wow, that was 2 hours of our day. Just gone for a terrible ride.
And that's a recent renovation too on that Peter Pan. Can you imagine what it looks like before?
No.
Well, it's for little kids. I mean, that's what it's for.
It is. And they just, Disneyland wasn't built, especially, I'm talking about the California park, but it really wasn't built for the crowds that we have today.
Yeah.
So that's why you're waiting like 2 hours in line for some of these things. If you have a little kid and you go to the park, Fantasyland can take a really long time to get through some of those rides.
Now, how many fast passes can you buy? Catherine does that. I don't even know.
Well, now you do the Genie Plus, which if the ride has the Genie Plus line, it'll allow you to go through. Otherwise, you can buy a couple of individual lightning lanes, but it really is better to make the investment and do Genie Plus if you want to get through the park and make the most bang for your buck.
I got lucky because I knew someone that works down there, and they gave us a guide for the entire tour of Disney World.
Those are expensive.
I guess they're like $5,000 a day or something.
Yeah. And did you tip your guide? Because you're supposed to tip the guide.
Oh, no, I definitely tipped the guide because I didn't, have to pick up the other parts. So
I'm just double checking because that's how they make their money.
You don't know me too well, do you?
Catherine booked it, and she was like, no, it's free. I swear to God. We got the hookup. No, we're definitely not paying for this, for sure.
This guy's just following us around.
No, because
a lot of people don't know to tip. They just like go, okay, great, thanks so much, because they assume that because they paid, their $5,000 for the day for their VIP tour.
People can call in right now. If there's a better tipper in the Twin Cities than me, I'd like to know who it is.
I'll be honest, I don't think I would have known to tip. Like, if you're paying, because you're paying like $5,000 for a tour, and it seems so formal. Like, it's almost I would worry that would be offensive to be tipping in that field. Like, it'd almost be like, my gyno, and she's down there, like, throw her 20 as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, she probably should.
It's a hell of a job. Let me put it that way.
Some medical offices are doing tipping now too, by the way.
That's wild.
They are?
The tipping culture has gotten out of control. Can you imagine like going for, and I also heard that a plumber, like they'll hand you the bill and be like, okay, you owe, $200 for us to fix your toilet. And then there's a tipping option.
That's
wild.
wild.
Would you tip your plumber?
No, I would never think to do that.
No. But then if they present it to you, you go, oh, it's that awkward moment.
Yeah, no, that's we just got to charge me what is enough for you to do the job and to get you have a good life. Please don't add tipping to most of these things. It's too much. I don't know. Should I tip Tom? Thanks for a great show. And then he tips me. And then Rudy, we all just tip each other in a big circle. Kristyn, should we be tipping you? Oh my God.
Yeah. And my cat. My cat deserves for her cameos every morning.
It's just wild.
I got a tip for all of you. That's all I'm saying. No, my mother was a diner waitress. I'm big into tipping. I don't know if I tip my plumber. I don't know. I never thought of that.
Yeah, same.
Although I'm never around for that kind of stuff anyway, so I wouldn't be there to tip him anyway.
Yeah.
I just was going to say that the whole conversation around like tipping culture has gotten out of control because now it's like you just go and pick up your donut and they're like, would you like to tip? So I think a lot of people are having conversations about that versus tipping your waiter. I think people understand that, but there's a lot of services now that they're asking if you want to tip. And I think that came out of the pandemic, and a lot of people tipped extra during the pandemic because people were working in relatively dangerous conditions and dealing with really horrible customers because everyone was angry.
Yeah. And they
but
weren't
now
able
that we're on the other side of it, what do you do?
Yeah, we weren't able to go get sit at a table, so we would just treat every pickup as 20%. Like normally you'd throw like 15%, 10% on if you're just grabbing and going. But at the pandemic time, we would obviously give 20% or more for pickup because we're like trying to keep things in business. But I feel like that never stopped, and now it feels wrong to not give 20% even if I'm just grabbing and going because it's like that precedent has been set. But yeah, I don't know.
Did you see the video of the pizza delivery guy?
Yeah, the $5 on
What an asshole.
I cannot imagine.
Gives the guy 25% tip, and he goes, well, aren't you cheap?
It's too nice of a house or something like that.
Yeah, your house.
You live in a nice
it
house.
was. Yes,
You
you're
give
right.
a $5 tip, and then you find out like the actual price of the meal was
20.
Yeah.
It was $20.
Yeah.
He gave her she gave him a 25% tip, and he still bitched.
Should I be tipping my babysitters? Like, I'm actually asking. We have the next door neighbor Maggie watching her from 8:30 to 10:30. Am I supposed to add a tip to that?
I think if you're paying her in cash, I think you're good, right?
Yeah. When I delivered pizzas, there was a lady that I delivered to, and I'll never forget the amount of the pizzas. It came to $40.80. $40.80.
Yeah.
$1.20.
And I said, hey, it's $40.80. And the lady gave me a 50. And I was like, oh, thanks. So I put the 50 in my pocket. I said, you want any change? She goes, no, you keep the rest. I was like, all right. So I go about the rest of my day. I get back to the pizza place the next morning. My boss goes, did you take $9 from a lady? I said, what are you talking about? She goes, well, a lady called and said you stole $9 from her. I said, what do you mean? She was like, the lady said that when you got to the door, you told her it was 48, and she gave you a 50 for a $2 tip. But then she realized it was 40.80, and she said you stole $9 from her. I was like, I didn't steal anything. I thought she was being generous. She made me drive all the way back to her house and give her back the $9, and then she handed me $1, and was very angry about it.
But 40.80 is not 48.
It's not 48. She heard 48
but
when
that's
I
her
said.
problem.
That's what I said. And yeah, so she made me drive, and it was in North Man. It was up on the hill in Mankato, kind of right next to where the hospital is. So it must have been because it was the middle of the afternoon, like noonish. So it must have been either like a doctor's wife or somebody who was, because it was in a very ritzy, affluent part of town. Yeah, it made me drive all the way back, hand her back $9, and then she gave me $1 and said, you need to be more careful. It was something like that. Yeah.
I can't believe, knowing you.
I was mortified. I was just like,
knowing who you are, like through and through, like I'm surprised you didn't say something.
Well, I do have another question, because that would be a 25% tip. So she didn't want to tip you that much anyway?
I guess not. No. $9. Yeah. So it would have been. So essentially, she would have been giving me a $2 tip, and then took away that $2 tip, and then gave me a $1 tip.
I would have left the $1 on the doormat.
Yeah. What I should have done is just laid it down and went, you obviously need this more than I do.
I know. I'm surprised you didn't do something like that, knowing you, Rudy.
Yeah. But I got to go. It was actually 40.80, correct?
40.80. Yeah. So she gave me a $9 tip on accident.
By accident.
By accident. So $9.20, and then realized that she had made a mistake and made me drive. Now, if that were to happen, why wouldn't you just go, you know what? It's that kid's lucky day. At the time, I was barely 18 years old.
Well, the thing is, what's funny is you always have to remember, this woman has to live with herself. The fact that she was laying in bed, miserable, all night over that money just shows you who she is as a person. That.
And then had to call your boss.
Yeah, I mean, and the amount of time and effort she has put into that, like, she's earned that money in the crazy way that she has to live with herself for the rest of her life. Yeah. Like, that's a crazy person. Awful.
Great comparison. The quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, what was his name again? Way back in the days. He's an announcer now. Blonde guy.
Troy Aikman.
Yeah. Troy Aikman. There you go. Troy Aikman knocked on a door of I believe it was a Chinese restaurant. There was no place open in town. I don't even remember what town he was in. He was covering football. Mm-hmm. Knocked on the door because he saw workers inside. The people let him in, made him dinner. He and his buddy, there were two of them. They let him in. They went out of their way, made him dinner. He left a $10,000 tip.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So there are two sides to every story, aren't there?
Sure.
God.
I was like, oh no, don't tell me this is going in a bad direction.
I know, right?
No. Troy Aikman, I guess, is a very nice. I've never talked to him or anything, but I guess he's a very nice man. That's what I've heard anyway.
That's awesome.
And to give somebody a $10,000 tip's pretty good.
That's great. And
no question.
I mean, that story will be told forever. How cool is that?
Okay, young lady, I have a tip for you. Hit the road. There's your tip.
Get out of here. I will see you in about an hour.
Looking forward to it. Thank you very much. Hour-ish.
2
Heavy
hours.
on the ish.
Yeah, 2 hours.
Heavy on the ish.
We'll talk to you later. Thank you. We got to take a break here. Be right back in a couple of seconds, ladies and gentlemen. I keep looking at this because they write at the very top of the script, because I don't pre-read scripts. At the very top, it always says, please feel free to add your own thoughts with this script. And I almost say that every time, but I don't. So thank God. We've been hearing about the new technology offered at Twin Cities Premier Health for the treatment of ED. This is one of those topics that can get uncomfortable to talk about. But the truth is, if new technology can improve your life by treating the root cause of most erectile dysfunction, why wouldn't we all want to talk about it? I agree with that. If you have a problem with erectile dysfunction, why do you care talking about it?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're lesser than.
Oh my God, no.
Who cares?
I mean, it's something wrong with your body, or something going on with your body.
Exactly. So it's not that big a deal. At Twin Cities Premier Health, acoustic wave therapy is the latest advancement in the treatment of erectile dysfunction. It's a non-invasive, non-surgical, highly effective science-based procedure that creates an increase in blood flow and helps create new blood vessels by treating the root cause of most erectile dysfunction. If, like so many of my listeners, you aren't interested in continuing to take the pill, you know that, to create a pharmaceutically induced erection and wipe out all the spontaneity, reach out to Twin Cities Premier Health like I did, and right now receive this special offer, a free treatment and a free consultation when you book today. This is valued at $800, 952-395-4346. That's my unique phone number, 952-395-4346 for their office, or go to TwinCitiesPremierHealth.com, and please be sure you tell them that Tom Barnard sent you.
What can Hubbard Interactive do for your business? Let's take a listen and find out what they did for one local company, Steve the Window Guy.
I'm Sally, and I'm a digital brand strategist here at Hubbard Interactive. We met with Melissa from Steve the Window Guy, and she was looking for help with their video advertising strategy. So we helped build a comprehensive plan for streaming TV and YouTube ads.
And Melissa, tell us how it's been getting your message out with help from Hubbard Interactive.
I've been working with them for 5 years, and what I've learned is that they have both the experience and the depth inside their team to help me solve any creative marketing challenge that I've got. So over the years, I've moved from streaming TV to YouTube ads, and now we're moving towards SEO. And I'm loving the results that I'm seeing.
Is there anything else you want business owners out there to know about Hubbard Interactive?
I am so grateful for the entire team at Hubbard Interactive for effortlessly understanding our business and our marketing vision, and then always delivering only the best results.
To find out how our experts can help your business grow, get in touch today at hubbardinteractive.com.
So, if you've been following my progress with MinnesotaFatLoss.com, I've lost right at 27 pounds, and you can too with the MNFatLoss.com summer special, $200 off, now only through July 30th. I'm going into my maintenance phase. I can't recommend this program any higher. Of course, any fat loss program is going to take some effort, but honestly, with MNFatLoss.com comes secret to fat loss. This program was way easier than I expected. The maintenance program allows me to add back in some more of the foods I love and still maintain my weight loss. You will absolutely be able to lose weight like I've done and save $200 with their summer special. $200 off, now through July 30th. If you want to find out the secret to losing 20 to 30 pounds in just 8 weeks, just like I'm doing, that's about a pound of fat every day. No exercise required. To schedule your free consultation, go to mnfatloss.com. That's mnfatloss.com. Results may vary. Be sure to tell the team at mnfatloss.com that Tom Barnard sent you. You need to know a guy for your auto repairs, legal issues, banking, and more. The same goes for investment advice. You need a guy to help you be successful, someone you can trust, who gets results. Well, I got a guy for you, Josh Arnold. Josh gives you straight talk, not sugar-coated advice about your financial situation. Josh has seen it all when it comes to economic and market conditions, and Josh can make sure that your retirement objectives match your investments. Do yourself a favor and call Josh now for a no-obligation, 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll get a different point of view for your investments. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That is 952-925-5608. You'll be glad that you did. And tell him his guy, Tom, sent you.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
All right. Brittany and I were just sitting here in the studio. Picture comes on, and we both, aloha, aloha. What's going on there, Don Ho?
Well, we're going to be outside today, and it's like 197 degrees. So I figured
not, you big baby.
It's awful out.
Sugar tit.
Fine. I'll accept that.
I like your shirt.
It is a nice shirt.
We did also decide that you were pretending to talk to somebody during the break.
No, I've got a job shadow here today. I'm not.
Show them.
You have
Tell
a
them,
what?
get them in the camera. Let's see them.
Come on over here.
You have a what?
A job shadow here. This is Nora.
Hi, Nora.
Hi, what's going on, Nora?
Nora, tell us what you've learned from Christopher.
I've learned a lot of things.
He didn't tell you to sit down, sister.
I'm not sitting. I'm just short.
Oh, okay.
But, I've learned a lot about how like the newsroom actually works and how they don't write everything that they read. It just kind of shows up for them and they read it off and like what's playing in your ears and all the ads. I don't know. It's really interesting to see it.
That's awesome, Nora. Are you in high school or are you in college?
I'm in college. I'm going to be a sophomore in college next year.
Nice. And is this the field you want to go into or are you just feeling it out?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Cool.
Next time somebody asks you that question, you go, what are you talking about? I'm 37.
You could be. I have no idea. I have a 1-year-old. I don't know what people age.
There you
I
go.
don't know what's going on. Well, Nora, you've got a great, you're following a great guy. I'm sure he's already told you that, though.
Well, who else is there with him? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Why would I tell her that, Brittany? You're such a turd.
Oh, well. So, Nora, what do you want to do? You want to be a reporter? You want to be an anchor? What do you want to do?
You know, right now I really like writing, so I guess we'll do something, but I'm just kind of feeling it out and seeing what it's all about. But I like being behind the camera is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So just anything. Right now I like writing, so I think that's what I'm hoping for.
All right. You should write a book about like a big whale and call it like Moby Dick or something. What do you think? It's a good idea.
I don't know how original that is.
Yeah, maybe not. You might be right.
Moby Dick 2.
Yeah,
You're welcome,
Moby
Nora.
Dick 2.
You're welcome.
The Journey Home.
Moby Dick 2, The Journey Home.
More Moby.
I like that. Whatever happened to Moby? Is he still alive? Remember the disc jockey Moby?
Yeah, I don't know
He's around.
still around.
Is he still around?
Yeah, no, he's around. Eminem says nobody listens to techno, but I disagree. Because
there you
everybody
go.
down the street from me definitely listens to techno.
See, Nora, Eminem was a very popular... No, I won't. Who? Yep.
I love that. What are you
Dude,
talking
she's
about?
sharp, man.
She is. I love her.
I've had many people come along for one day of seeing what this is all about. She's light years ahead of them. She's very sharp. I'm impressed.
So, Nora, do you want to work at Channel 5? Do you have any interest in working there?
Yeah, I would love to.
Who do you want me to fire?
Don't get him started, Nora. Tom he's one of those like monkey paw wishes that
Monkey paw.
you make a
Monkey
wish,
paw.
it'll happen, but you'll like
Monkey
hear about
paw.
on the news something. It's crazy.
I don't want to dig a hole for myself already.
Good point.
That's a
Nora.
good point. Nora, well, I hope you do end up with a position. That'll be magnificent. The fact that you would even pop onto the screen, most people would be too intimidated to do that. So congratulations.
I'm telling you, she's going places. I can tell.
I agree.
She booted Egert right out of
I
the
sure did, and I loved it. I mean,
Chris, move over. Move over, Chris.
well, thanks, Nora. You're the best. Good luck in everything you do.
Thank you.
Nice job, Nora.
I know, she's killing it.
See? I'm telling you, man. She's got it.
She gets an applause break.
She what?
The future is Nora.
He had an applause break for her. That was very nice. There's no question. Ladies and gentlemen, news brought to you by Mr. Money Talk Josh Arnold. Call Josh for your free 48-minute financial evaluation. Mr. Chris Egert and Nora, they're watching. So what's big in the news this morning, sir?
the heat, obviously, and the weather that blew through yesterday. So there were some pop-up storms that did a considerable amount of damage out in Hudson.
Really?
North Hudson, a roof ripped off an apartment building.
Ooh.
And then like Vadnais Heights saw in the North Metro, Blaine and Vadnais Heights also saw some like pretty significant tree damage. It was one of those weird things though, and they said there's a possibility for it. It wasn't going to be like a widespread weather thing where everybody was going to get nailed, but just these little pockets like that. The North Hudson damage is surprisingly bad.
That's sad. I love Hudson. Great town.
It is. Like there's a bunch of people in the apartment building, and there's a new mom in there, and so yeah, kind of a drag, that's for sure.
So it's just, I mean, that's summertime in Minnesota. You're going to get those pop-up storms, and some are severe.
Yeah, it's just been such a dry year, and the last couple of years have been so quiet, really, when it comes to the severe weather stuff. So when it happens, I think people are a little surprised by it. But
I guess, but I mean, this is Minnesota. We get the storms, no doubt about it.
No, it's true. It's true.
All right, everything else good. Yeah, well, I just I brought this up about a half an hour ago on the show that I was, and I guess I'm bringing it up to you because you must be covering this a lot. But I had 3 friends tell me they were in different stores. I'm not going to say where, but they were all at malls. All 3 were at malls, and all 3 of them standing. These are different people, different locations. I don't even know one another. But they brought this up to me because, they knew I do a show and all that stuff. Standing there at the cash register, looking over their shoulder, people walk in, grab an armful of clothing, and just walk out the door. What are we going to do about that?
I don't think, I'm told from people who are in, one of my really good friends is in the loss prevention business.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are very limited, if anything, that they can do with people. They can try to intersect that or try to intervene at some point, but if that person walks out of the store, they can't. I don't think they can touch them. I don't think I think that's just.
They're stealing. Why can't they?
All you can do is verbalize. Like when I used to sell shoes in the North Loop, all you can do is verbalize stuff. You can say, like, you can try to, like, it's like a pretend power. You go, hey, you need to put that down. But in reality, do they? Like, you can't physically stop them, and you shouldn't because, I mean, if you get hurt, that's going to be on you. But the whole thing they always tell you to say is, like, you try to verbalize, hey, put that down, and I won't call the police or whatever. But the reality of it, if they want to pick up something and walk out, you can't stop them, and you probably shouldn't.
Okay, so the problem with that is that you and me, we work, we go to buy something, and it's going to cost 3 times more than it used to. Why do we have to pay for their stolen goods? Because we do. I mean, the price ends up going up.
I mean, it'd probably be even more money if the person got hurt, and then we have to pay the insurance prices.
Oh, you mean that? But where's security? Why don't they have security everywhere?
You don't have
That's
security at every store.
Security is very limited. I'm not talking about like a secret shopper guy. Like it was a few years back when my buddy did this, but like he's a trained law enforcement, and they were not in that position, granted the power to be able to physically confront someone or anything. It was, as like Brittany said, it was like try to basically scare them into turning around and bringing the stuff back. I need a new pair of shoes, though. I guess I'm wondering where I could go to just walk in.
Schuler's.
I'd be the worst thief. One person would say one thing to me, and I would like, oh no, I'm just got here.
I actually hate shoes. Chuck them, run out.
But how these things get on my feet?
I mean, but once again, the problem here is that you and I are picking up the tab for it.
Not always. Yeah,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I don't really want to buy a shirt for $700. Like this one, $700.
Yeah, $700.
At least.
I actually got it on sale for $650.
Very nice $700 shirt.
But it's going to get more and more and more expensive. I mean, they're doing it everywhere now and getting away. I understand you don't want to be intervening and getting hurt and all that stuff. I understand all that. But maybe instead of passing it on to the consumer, maybe we can demand you need to get more security, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, it's just, you have these little stores, and there would be no, 24/7, there would be no chance of that having security. I mean, I think what would eventually happen is you have these stores that have you lock the entrance, and you pretty much need like an appointment to get in. I mean, that's where I see things going if it kept going like this.
I know a store like that. You have to have an appointment to even go in there.
Yeah, and like give your information.
That's all it's going to have to be. You're right. They can't keep losing thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a day in inventory. They can't. It's not going to sustain itself.
But some.
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
No.
Go
Chris.
ahead,
Well, some stores are built on that, built on that concept, like the Zara's, the 20, whatever. It is. It's like we don't even care about the things that are stolen from here because we're mass consumption, and so it's but then there's some little boutiques that they can't handle big losses like that.
Oh, God, no. There's no question about it. I don't understand. Again, I don't have that in my brain to go, oh, that's all right. I'll just go in and steal some stuff. They can't stop me. I could never do that.
Yeah.
It's just not in my head.
I stole one thing once a long time ago, and my mom beat the living crap out of me right in the aisle of the Ben Franklin.
Ooh, Ben Franklin. No wonder.
What was it?
She put the hurting on me, man. Oh, boy. I was like, no, I'm not doing that again.
You know what's really weird about that story? The one time I shoplifted was at a Ben Franklin on Plymouth Avenue.
You guys.
I went back years later after I got a good job. I stole a yo-yo, and the yo-yo was like 50 cents. I walked back into Ben Franklin years later, put a $100 bill on the desk, and just left. I just never got over it. I did not like being a thief. I didn't care for it.
Chris, what was the item you stole?
It was a toy, too. It was, well, first of all, it was a couple of those really long, like Mardi Gras balloons. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
You needed it. No, that was a necessity.
Needed that. And also, they had this stupid little orange squiggle thing that was like, it looked like it's like a pipe cleaner, but it was like this little creature, and you could like make it go around a pencil, and like if you knew what you're doing, it would like do magical things. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. It's like a desk pet.
I took that thing too.
You guys are really bad examples for Nora. I just want to say
guessing. Sorry, Nora. But I never got out of the store. That, like I said, Mom put the hurt down on me right there in the store. Like, I mean, listen, this was the 70s too, where we were free to strike, and she let me have it. That's for sure.
Well, I will tell you, if my mother ever found out I stole that yo-yo, she'd have burst into tears. That's how she always got back at me, is by crying. It's like, stop doing that, Mom. God.
She's Catholic, right? The
Catholic, the Catholic
that's
crying.
That's the old Catholic guilt trip, man. Pack your bags. Here we go. We're going on a guilt trip.
Very true, but I don't know. We got to do something about the shoplifting. We can't just let them keep doing it, because that shirt you're wearing right now, what's that, about $300-400?
No.
Well, it's going to be.
Trust me, it's a Marshall's $9.99 because I got the same one.
Oh, wow.
I own the same one. We shop in the same spot, Chris. I love the fact that you are a thrifty shopper because I'm the same way.
Twinsies.
Yeah.
Only because this was a sponsor that provided this shirt for me. I can't leave it at that. This is a Hammer-made shirt.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it is.
I love Hammer-made stuff. It's actually very good.
It's very nice, but anyway, that was a little something.
Ooh,
that's all I'll say about
must be nice, Chris.
I don't get very many of the sponsored clothes, but when we do, we have to like put up a thing. Wardrobe provided by blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
Just like the Twins players, must be nice.
Yeah. Most of my wardrobe is provided by Amazon.com.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
You know what's funny about that? I do the same thing. I need a new pair of pants. I better go on Amazon. It's like,
yeah,
really?
or I'll go try them on somewhere else, and then I'll go to Amazon and order them. Which is such an a-hole thing to do.
Totally a-hole thing to do.
It is. You're absolutely
I want
right.
to tell you guys, so this story that happened at the game a couple days ago, I teased this yesterday. We were at the Twins game on Saturday night, and the craziest thing happened, and I want to know how one of you guys would have reacted. So my buddy and I are at the game. Beautiful night. They're playing Chicago. Twins have been on a roll since the All-Star break. Like, it was a full house, like really fun atmosphere. We went to go get some food, at Kramarchik's, and go out and stand in right field where there's that kind of open air plaza there.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
Sure. Yep.
And just happened to settle in behind this row of guys that were sitting in front of us. And we weren't standing very close. We're like maybe 3 feet behind them. And we just got our Kramarczyks. It wasn't done, so we had to sit around and wait for it like 15 minutes. So it took a little while. So we got over there. My buddy was like so hungry. He took a bite into his cheddar wurst, and the thing spewed all over the back of the guy in front of us.
Oh.
Like, I mean, like just nailed him in the back of the head.
Oh.
So
no.
We come in, we stand behind them, and then the first thing that happens, my buddy spews cheddar wurst all over the dude's back, all over his neck.
Whoops.
He was so irritated.
Was he mad? He was big mad?
Oh my God, yes, he was mad. It looked like he had a new Herbeck shirt on that he had just probably bought at the game. And so he took the shirt off. He was like got some ice to wash the grease and the cheese out of it. And oh my God, I felt so bad, but I guess I was wondering, like, how do you handle that situation? To me, the guy he wasn't nice, but he wasn't like, I want to fight you over it either.
Right. Right.
I bought him like 3 beers to try to make up for it.
I feel like 3 beers is probably the price of the jersey because of how expensive beers are.
We didn't leave though. We stayed right there.
Why? Why?
I don't know. You're going to just spew your cheese on them and then leave? I felt like we kind of were obligated to stay there.
I agree.
At that point.
Do you have cash on you in this scenario?
Yeah.
Cash is king. Like, throw some cash. I mean, I feel like I'd be like, here's $20. I'm so sorry. I know that won't solve this problem, but like, get a round of beers on us.
Tommy, what would you do?
Oh, same thing. Absolutely. I would stay and make sure that give him a little dough to get the thing cleaned or whatever. Yeah, absolutely, I would stay.
Well, what if you were the guy who got hit with the sausage remnants?
I might hit him back with my own sausage.
Right? Like, seriously.
It's a weird visual. It's a very weird visual.
I just mean the wiener.
Oh,
no, wait a
okay.
minute.
Wait,
Not
we
that.
still can get wiener.com if we need it. Sorry,
That's right.
Nora.
Hey, well, by the way, Chris, do you know that wiener.com's wide open for a porn site?
No, but that's good to know.
That seems sincere. I've never been a porn guy either. I'm not big on that stuff. I was like, oh boy, look how much fun they're having while I'm watching. Who cares?
I feel like if I got hit by a bunch of cheese, I'd be okay with it.
It was an accident. Yeah.
But like, I'm the type of person, even if I wasn't, I would be like, it's fine. I've always wanted cheese on my shirt because I'm so Minnesotan.
Yeah.
And then I'd secretly be mad about it later in my life. But like, the Minnesotan in would be like, oh no, perfect. Like, now it's more authentic. Thank you. I appreciate. Like, that's how I'd handle it. How would you have, Chris?
I don't know, Rudy. How would you have handled it?
I would have washed the shirt. Just kept it. I would have taken your beers for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I would have washed the shirt, and then if there was still a grease stain on it, every time somebody brought it up, because it's on the back of the shirt, I'm never going to see it.
Yeah.
Right.
But if somebody brought it up, I would raise holy hell and be like, you should have seen this son of a bitch at the Twins game. This guy got me all covered with Kramarczyk's cheddar wurst. I got up, I got in that dude's face. I'd have a story behind it. Like, I don't need a new shirt.
Well,
I just want to make content.
Add to it, you can throw in Chris Egert's name.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you ever watch the news? Maybe you've heard of it?
Yeah. Dude,
They wouldn't have had any idea.
We had a weatherman from Duluth up at KBJR, yeah, and he was a weather guy, and he was playing pool, and he was drunk, and he spit whiskey at a friend of mine, and from that day forward, we always watched Channel 6 and be like, there's that son of a bitch that spat whiskey at
There's
him.
that llama. Yeah.
You know what I would do for you, though, Chris? If you and I were there and you did that to
Yeah.
somebody,
Yeah.
I go, damn you, Paul Majors. Use a different name.
Totally.
Frank Vassalero, I can't believe you would do
Frank
that.
Vassalero. Minnesota's own Frank Vassalero.
Blame it
I
on
just felt
Frankie.
so bad, but it was so awkward. Like, do we leave or do we stay there? It was a great spot. I was loving where we were at. And I felt like it would have been an even bigger dick move to like soak him with the cheese and then leave, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would have
don't know.
left. Because I feel like
You would have left?
Yeah, because I feel like he has to be reminded, and he can't full show his emotions, that you are still there. You have to be reminded. Like, some things you just have to, like, maybe throw money at the problem and walk away, because, like, nobody's enjoying themselves. He wants to talk crap about you, and that you're ruining it by trying to be the nice guy next to him. Walk
Yeah,
away.
I never thought of it that way. That is true.
Yeah, that's funny though.
All right, there's my. I think I teased it yesterday. What do Kramarczak's cheddar and Kent Herbeck have to do with each other? So there you go.
There you have. Oh, by the way, because when you brought up his name, I had a guy come up to me last night when we were out, and he goes, "Tom, I got to tell you something. I've been listening to your new morning show, and Herbeck has never been better." I'm like, "You're gonna go from I listened to your show, but Herbeck is the star. Is that what you're gonna do to me?"
I have to agree with him.
Well, there you go.
I only come in here Monday through Friday to wait for that Herbeck report.
Wait for the Herbeck report. People love that report.
He's so funny.
Of course they do.
He's a good guy.
He's hilarious. I didn't even know that my life was just missing Herbeck. Like, I didn't know that.
Well, again, you got a guy who's been in 2 World Series, and he says things like, "Yeah, we'd be a lot better off if those people didn't suck."
I know.
I love that about him.
And he literally will just, you guys will rag on the Twins, and he's like, "I'm sorry, are they still in first place?" And I'm like, "Yep, Kent, you win this round." Like
every time I call him on Fridays, he answers the phone. I go, "Kent, what's going on?" He goes, "Just hanging like a sack of nuts."
There you go. Hanging like a sack of nuts, ladies and gentlemen.
Rudy, apologize to Nora.
It's a newsroom. Are you kidding me?
That's true. Nora's heard worse. She's also a
Okay,
sophomore
she's a
in
college student.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she's probably heard worse.
I just want her to have just like an experience that felt classy and real in this world, but never mind.
Right. This is a very real experience for sure.
All right, Chrissy has to go because he's got a news report to do. Nora, get the hell out of the way. You heard me.
She's going to sit down and take over the rest of the show, man.
Well,
there you go. She's welcome.
Tell her
She's
to
coming
come on
for you
in.
guys.
Yeah, come to the podcast studio if you want to sit in on the show. We'd love to have you.
All right, young man. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye, guys. Have a good day.
Bye, Chris.
Chris Egert. News brought to you by Mr. Money Talk. Josh Arnold. Call Josh for your free 48-minute financial evaluation. Chris Egert. Nora doing a hell of a job. She's a very pleasant person, didn't you think?
Yes, she was lovely.
She's lovely.
Yeah.
What movie was that? Lovely.
I don't. You always say that in a.
Remember, it was from a movie.
I don't know how to Google that.
And the guy was
Lovely.
creeping on a woman.
Yeah, it was
lovely.
It's like a scary movie where he's
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
That would be lovely.
We have to take a break. Come right back, ladies and gentlemen. Our very special guest, Adam Carolla, will be on with us coming up next.
This is the Tom Barnard Morning Show.
On MyPillow's 20-year anniversary with over 80 million pillows sold, Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank each and every one of you by giving you the lowest price in history on their MyPillows. Queen-size MyPillow's regular price is $69.98, now only $19.98, and just $10 more for king size. MyPillow's patented fill adjusts your exact individual needs to help you get the best sleep ever. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio podcast square to get Mike's amazing offer on the queen-size MyPillow for only $19.98. Enter promo code TOM. In addition to this special anniversary offer on the MyPillows, you will also receive deep discounts on all MyPillow products such as bed sheets, mattress toppers, pet beds, mattresses, My Slippers, and so much more. Take advantage of the biggest sale in MyPillow's history. Go to MyPillow.com, use promo code TOM to take advantage of Mike's special offer on his MyPillow. That's MyPillow.com, promo code TOM. It's time to beat the heat. This is Tom from my friends at Miller Marine and Power Lodge, giving you the keys to a cool lake breeze. With clearance pricing on 2023 luxury pontoons, fishing boats, and more, our dog days of summer won't last, and neither will their inventory. So do both of us a favor and go from floor to shore today with iconic Bennington pontoons and tri-toon packages at doorbuster pricing at Miller Marine in St. Cloud and all Power Lodge locations. Get your first cruise in by sunset. But don't wait on this limited time special. Power Lodge offers competitive financing with no money down. By the way, if you need delivery to your dock, their team of experts has you covered. Discover what thousands of our Minnesota neighbors have and explore our lakes and rivers in your own boat at Elite Savings. I said Elite Savings, darn it. Launch into adventure today at Miller Marine and Power Lodge. Just head to millermarine.com and powerlodge.com to see for yourself. Financing is available on approved credit. Freight and prep are not included in packages. So, if you've been following my progress with MinnesotaFatLoss.com, I've lost right at 27 pounds, and you can too with the MNFatLoss.com summer special, $200 off, now only through July 30th. I'm going into my maintenance phase. I can't recommend this program any higher. Of course, any fat loss program is going to take some effort, but honestly, with MNFatLoss.com comes secret to fat loss. This program was way easier than I expected. The maintenance program allows me to add back in some more of the foods I love and still maintain my weight loss. You will absolutely be able to lose weight like I've done and save $200 with their summer special. $200 off now through July 30th. If you want to find out the secret to losing 20 to 30 pounds in just 8 weeks, just like I'm doing, that's about a pound of fat every day. No exercise required. To schedule your free consultation, go to mnfatloss.com. That's mnfatloss.com. Results may vary. Be sure to tell the team at mnfatloss.com that Tom Barnard sent you. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Just let me know when Adam's ready to go.
Hey, we just got him up.
Oh, you got him up already. Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, how are you?
Good, Tom. How you doing?
Well, now that you're here, things are magnificent. You know what I'm saying.
Agreed.
Agreed. I kind of like that. How did this whole comedy fantasy camp come together? How did you do this?
You know, I'd interviewed the guy who'd done the rock and roll fantasy camp a few times, and I thought it was really interesting. And the same guy had been doing rock and roll fantasy camp for years, but his background was in comedy. And so at some point, it just popped in my head. I said, there should be basically a comedy fantasy camp as well as a rock and roll fantasy camp, and just take the same model and apply it to comedy. And he said, that's a great idea. And so here we are.
No, I think it is a great idea. Adam got together with Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp to create Comedy Camp and brought along his friend Jay Leno. I tell you what, Adam, what a combo that is. Jay is another one of my favorite people in the world. What a great guy.
Yeah, he's really just the best. And you wish everyone was more like Jay Leno. I mean, he's just so easy to deal with. And that's how I got him involved with this. I just called him. I was like, hey, Jay, you going to be in town this weekend? He said, yeah, I'll be in town. I go, all right, you want to do this thing? But yeah, okay. That was about it.
Now, to explain this, 4 days of sessions with top comedians, TV show runners from Seinfeld and Friends, plus a podcasting session with Adam Carolla, finished a live stand-up performance at Hollywood Improv with feedback from Adam. And now the only reason I'm reading that, Adam, is because you're going to be there, Jay Leno's going to be there. Do you think that's going to be a bit intimidating for young comedians trying to break through?
You know, it's weird because I never think of myself as really anything. I just picture myself as, Jenny from the block.
Okay.
Yes.
Calm down.
Me too, Adam. I think he's Jenny from the block.
Yeah, I don't really have. I got so humbled for so long that I'm confused. Like sometimes people will say, you got to know what that sounds like coming from you. And I go, coming from me? What does that mean? I don't know what that means, but I guess it does. I don't have low self-esteem. I just have no self-esteem. I don't feel like I exist. So to me, it's a confusing question. But yeah, practically. Sure, maybe somebody feels a little intimidated or something like that. And look, that's part of doing comedy. If you want to do comedy, you're going to have to deal with showing up. And, I did a show at the Improv not that long ago in Hollywood, and I was like back in the green room, and like Paul McCartney's in the audience. And I was like, oh, crap. Like, Paul McCartney paid money to see me? That's insane. Right. So you have to kind of deal with that.
Well, what's great about that, though, Adam, and I can speak about this personally, that they'll realize right away. I mean, I remember the first time I met you in person years and years and years ago. You are a very pleasant person, and you do go out of your way to make people feel very comfortable. Do you know, are you even doing that?
I kind of figured out a long time ago when I was doing Loveline on MTV and doing radio shows, and we'd have guests on, and maybe I could tell they're a little bit nervous or something. And I would always just go into their dressing room and I would say whatever you want. You can't be bad on the show. If it's a bad episode, that'll be my fault. But you say whatever you want. Don't worry about it. And because I wanted them to relax and I wanted to get the best out of them, and I do remember in the past performing and having people like producers say, don't say this and don't say that and don't talk about that, and really like get up in my head.
Yeah.
And it was difficult. went out there thinking, you know, it was like a first date when you're trying to worry about which fork is the salad fork, you know,
Yeah.
and getting everything wrong, you know, because you got up in your head. So I just realized that for selfish purposes, because I wanted people to have a good show, I would just tell them, say whatever you want, relax, have fun.
That's so nice, because I do think when you take the ownership, go, hey, whatever happens, that's on me, it just relaxes people so much.
Yeah, and I kind of meant it. I felt like if this show sucks, it'll be my name's on this show, and that'll be because I didn't do a good enough job, maybe with you, you know. But either way, I'll just take ownership of it.
Well, it gets back to not only how nice of a guy you are, but to go back to that humility thing. When you and I were in Oklahoma City, we're having a drink together, and we were talking about like some of our jokes from the night before in our set. And I said, you know, this part of your joke, you know, you're such a good comic. And then you stopped me and went, you think I'm a good comic? And I was like, you're Adam friggin' Carolla. Of course I think you're a good comic. And you were blown away that somebody would give you a compliment.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just my family of origin or something.
Sure.
Something like that. But also, I do so many different things in comedy that I never really... I claim to be a black belt in one thing, you know. So maybe that was. I'm used to people saying I'm funny, but I'm not known as a stand-up, for instance.
No, but you look, Adam. I ended up doing this show first, inspired by the fact that you did the thing first, that you were a radio guy, and you went on and said, no. You became the biggest podcaster in the world. Shortly after that, and I kind of just followed your lead in that situation. Oh, I should mention this, by the way. You can catch Adam on the road with our own Rudy Pavich. Now, it doesn't say, okay, so basically it's coming up in August because it says Thursday at Boise and
That's this Thursday and Friday, and then
it's
August.
this Thursday
yeah.
and Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're talking about Boise and Portland?
Yep.
And then August 25th and 26th.
Boise sold out, I think, but maybe Portland.
Oh, right on. Okay.
And then the Skyline Comedy Club in Appleton, Wisconsin on August 25th and 26th. Adam will be there with Rudy. So I'm glad to see that everything's going. Well, first of all, Adam, I think I've mentioned this to you before, but you do work very, very hard. And I think people need to know that, because I think some people watching, they go, oh, well, you know, he's good on the microphone and he's funny and all the rest of it. So, but you work your ass off, man. I've watched you do it. You really work hard.
Yeah, but it's not, you know, I used to work construction, so it's not,
right.
not really work, you know. Work for me used to mean outside in the heat, you know, with the day laborers, you know, up on a roof, you know. I really got that built into me, and so standing around, air conditioning, a beer in my hand, I just don't think of it as work.
No, I understand that. No, absolutely. I you know, to get on a microphone and BS every morning for 52 years, it's not work after a while. You're right about that. And no question about it. Now, October 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th, Hollywood, California. If people want to get involved with this, I know we only got you for about 2 more minutes, Adam, because you're a busy man, but if people want to get involved, how do they get involved?
You go to comedyfantasycamp.com. And you have all the information you need there. Sign on up.
Okay, Adam, I know that you guys have this whole comedy fantasy camp, but will you give us one of the big tips that you see in new comics that you tell people?
I would say don't do your impersonation of anybody you saw before you. Let's see if we can find your voice. I think it's very common, and all of us have run into this, where you end up doing your version of somebody you thought was really funny when you were 15, and let's just figure out your version of you. And I think that's sort of the goal for all comedians.
See, I think that's wonderful, because I won't do it, but that great story about Jeff Cesario showing up in Hollywood. He's walking down the street with Jerry Seinfeld, and Jerry said, hey, you want to meet Rodney Dangerfield? And he went, oh, God, yeah, I'd love to meet him. And I won't finish the story because what Rodney said was very, very funny. But, it just, those moments, Jeff Cesario's brand new in Los Angeles, and the first day he gets picked up by Seinfeld and gets to meet Rodney Dangerfield. A lot of people don't get that kind of a welcome, do they?
No, I was probably in the mid-40s, maybe high 30s percentage-wise.
That's about it, you think? About 30% of them get to meet a couple of legends in the business.
35 to 40.
Yeah,
35 to 40.
Seems accurate.
No question about that. Adam, it's always great to see your name on the docket. I cannot wait to see. I haven't seen you in a while in person, and I can't wait to see you again. I've always enjoyed your company, and you've been great to me over the years, and I do appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
All right. We'll talk to you again soon, pal, all right?
All right, Tom.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Adam Carolla, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, you can catch Adam on the road with our own Rudy Pavich on Thursday and Thursdays in Boise at the Egyptian Theater, Friday and Saturday in Portland, Oregon at the Helium Comedy Club, then August 25th and 26th. A salute to my mother because August 25th is her birthday. I don't know if you planned on that or not, but I just threw it in. Skyline Comedy Club in Appleton, Wisconsin. Where is Appleton, Wisconsin?
It is just south of Green Bay. It's on the east side. It's as far. I think it's not on like one of the Great Lakes, but it's over. There's a giant lake that's next to it. I'm spacing on the name of it, but yeah, it's kind of on the east side of Wisconsin. Yeah.
I should have remembered that because I believe that's where Orson Welles was born.
Oh, and sure.
I think he was born in Appleton, Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. Not sure about that, but I think so. I always love having Adam Carolla on because he's a very nice man, very, very pleasant, hard-working guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he has done so many things for so many people, you and me included. No question about it.
I'm going to go grab Patrick.
Don't forget it. You're out of the mix.
Yeah, I apologize. We had so much going on this morning. We were cutting ads and we had things going on. We were all of a sudden I realized for some reason we bring on Laugh Camp comedians on Thursday. So I was like, oh, we got time. And then realized, oh no, we have Patrick Strait from Minnesota Comedy on today, not Thursday. So my apologies that I didn't put it on the list there.
Well, I get to look at a great picture of Louis Anderson.
Sure.
I mean, honest to God, I'm looking at this picture, and I see so many people that I've known. Some of them are no longer with us. Patrick Strait in studio. He's putting on his head. There, he's got his headphones on.
Hey, there we go.
You know, she doesn't have to sit next to you like that. She's just being a pain in the ass, Patrick. You know how that goes.
She's going to do the mom thing. She's going to smack my leg if I say anything she doesn't like.
You cut that out, Patrick. Damn it. Funny thing about Minnesota, the rise, fall, and rebirth of the Twin Cities comedy scene. I cannot wait to talk to you about this, about your book, about all the people I missed severely. I mean, we've gotten to the point, my son Andy is part of the family podcast, and he became really good friends with Gilbert Gottfried, and we lost Gilbert, and it's been tough, Patrick. What the hell?
Yeah, it was weird. I'm glad that I got to write the book when I did, but then I started to feel like maybe I was the bad luck guy, you know?
Your fault.
Like all of a sudden it was like Scott died and Louis died, and if you were in that book, your days were numbered. So I don't know if your name's mentioned in there, but if it is, I'm just saying,
got it.
I'll take my responsibility for it. So there you go.
Patrick's here.
No. I need him alive. I've been riding his coattails for so long.
Here's what I love about this. Comments on the book. Louis Anderson's one of them. J. Elvis Weinstein. I still love the fact. Do people know why he changed his name to J. Elvis?
I don't know. I don't know if that's actually like out there, if that's a real public. Because for a long time, he did just go by Weinstein.
He did.
Or just by Josh Weinstein. And then, I don't know. Why did he change his name? I don't know if I even know.
Oh, you don't know?
I don't know.
Okay, J. Elvis Weinstein. Just go with the initials.
Oh, I see what he did there. And
he goes with Jew.
That's extremely Josh. Yes.
Oh, that's Josh all the way.
That's Josh, yes. Also, I love that he was like, I need to have something that's more Jewish than Weinstein. Like, we know, Josh. We know, buddy. Like, we got you.
What a great business. What inspired you to do the book?
Yeah, no, it's funny because I've covered comedy in the Twin Cities here for, 14, 15 years now.
Yeah.
And, you hear, there's all this lore, right? You hear all these stories about these guys who, you're Scott Hanson's and obviously Louis, but I mean,
Sure.
you're like, you mentioned Jeff Cesario before,
Right.
and, folks like that. And I feel like it was one of those, there's all these stories out there, but there really wasn't like a definitive history that told people, especially with how big comedy is in the Twin Cities now, where a lot of that history started from. So when I get together with the Historical Society, they had the same questions. They said, well, why is it such a big deal, and where did this all start? And so that's when, honestly, the easiest answer is my own personal fandom and curiosity. I wanted to know. I'd never had the opportunity to meet Scott Hansen. I'd never had the opportunity to really, I think I'd interviewed Louis, but it was always very like, hey, you've got a show coming up here, or whatever the case is. Never got to hear his whole story. So, for me, just as a fan, it was awesome to get to actually talk to these guys and understand the history and hear their versions of some of the things that happened. It's funny because you'd hear the same story from multiple perspectives, and they would be slightly different versions, so that was always kind of fun too. You got to decide who was living in the gray there. So
it's a good place to live, by the way. The gray.
Yes, a lot of these guys have real selective memories when it comes to who pissed off who and whose fault it was.
Oh yeah. Well, and I tell a story. It's my favorite story about comedy, and I tell it way too much. But did you ever hear the story about Cesario meeting Rodney Dangerfield?
I was listening when you were talking to Adam a little bit about it. So I've heard bits and pieces of it, but I don't think I've ever heard the whole complete deal.
It's very, very quick, but I know I tell the story a lot, but I just love it. Cesario flies out to Hollywood. He's moving out there to produce some shows and do stand-up comedy and all the rest of it. And he's picked up at the airport by Seinfeld. Mm-hmm. And they're walking around Hollywood and just having a good time and all the rest of it. He says to him, hey, Jeff, would you like to meet Rodney Dangerfield? He's down at the Comedy Store, and he's matter of fact, off stage right now. You want to go down and meet him? He goes, God, I'd love to meet Rodney Dangerfield. That's wonderful. So Cesario tells me he's all excited, and he's just jacked up to get down there and meet the legend. He's already with one legend. And they go down there, and just as they get there, Rodney's coming out to get in his limo. Mm-hmm. And they walk up, and Seinfeld says, Rodney, I'd like you to meet a really good friend of mine. He's first day in town, brand new in town, great producer, great writer, great stand-up comedian. Mm-hmm. Rodney, meet Jeff Cesario. Mm-hmm. And there's a long pause, and Rodney goes, Cesario, huh? Italian, huh? Stick to the tumbling. It's one of the greatest ad-libs I have ever heard in my life.
That's a really good Rodney Dangerfield, by the way.
I actually was asked to go on tour as him one time. I don't know, maybe someday I'll do that.
Still time.
It's spot on. Your Roger Dangerfield is legit.
Roger Dangerfield.
Sorry,
That's
Rodney.
I'm
sorry.
That's what you're going to be on
Rodney.
tour as.
Yes.
It's like Gallagher 2.
Right?
You're Roger Dangerfield.
Gallagher 2. Thanks for the comparison.
There you go.
Absolutely did that on purpose.
Yes,
you're the
did.
Roger Dangerfield.
Roger Dangerfield. Hey, let me tell you. But no, those stories about comedians and your love of the whole. So how did you get yourself so involved in comedy? You just always knew you loved it?
Yeah, when I first moved to Minnesota, I didn't have any. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any friends out here.
Where were you from?
I'm from Metro Detroit, from Michigan.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah. So when I moved out here, I didn't have anything else to do, so I started going to the comedy clubs and watching shows. And then I was writing for City Pages for a long time, and they didn't really have a lot of comedy coverage, so I just kind of was like, oh, well, there's a cool niche I can fit into. And then it just sort of snowballed, between the fact that I actually was paying attention and I wasn't just writing about,
Yes.
whatever press release came through, and the fact that, I actually liked comedy and I wasn't writing the kind of hack pieces you'd see sometimes about comedy and things like that. You were actually interviewing comics and doing real interviews with them before anybody else was. So you know what it's like.
Yeah, a long time ago, yeah.
And that's kind of what got people interested. And then the Historical Society read a bunch of my stuff, and that's what got them connected with me too. Is they were like, oh, okay, this guy actually wants to write about comedy. It's not like an assignment. So
I think that's very important, because that was my next question to you. How were you received at first when people didn't at first know who you were? Did they step up and help?
For the book, you mean?
Well,
or just in general?
In general, and then the book.
Well, Tom, here's what I've come to learn about comedians. They really like attention.
Yes,
so
they
if
do.
you tell
That's
them,
true.
I would like to talk about you in the newspaper, they are extremely accommodating to you all of a sudden. They're like, wait, you want to talk about me? And I can talk more about myself? Yes, let's do it. So that was not a challenge. And then the book was the same way. Honestly, it was kind of funny, because I think a lot of these folks, not just the guys on the cover, but a lot of the people in it, they have this kind of, soft spot where they hadn't thought about a lot of these stories in years. And it was kind of a trip down memory lane for them to think about I remember going to Mickey Finn's, and I remember going to, the Ha Ha Club, and I remember going to, different places like this along the way. And so for them, yes, they were super helpful, but I think a lot of it was just they were excited to relive some of those stories and to talk about the old days and jog their memory about some of the things that either they had forgotten about or maybe they had wished they had forgotten about. So
you just gave me a really bad memory. Thank you.
Hey, it's what I do best.
I go into Mickey Finn's. I don't remember the kid's name. This was a million years ago. I'm sitting in the audience, and this kid comes out wearing a miner's helmet.
As soon as you see a costume, you know it's going to be good. You know it's going to be good.
He's wearing a miner's helmet, it's got the whole deal, and he tells about 5 jokes, and nobody is responding.
Oh, that's so rough.
And it got much worse.
Oh, no.
Because he then puts his hands on the microphone, he drops his head down, and he goes, "Please laugh."
Oh, no.
Oh, gosh.
Jesus.
I would have been like this.
Look at the time. I got to head to the... Oh, it was, I literally almost started crying.
I would have been such a stage mom. I'd have been like, I'd be hitting other people.
Oh.
We are laughing.
Oh, no. I don't know which is worse, when somebody gets sad like that or when they get indignant like it's your fault.
Yeah.
I know. You guys just don't get it. You don't understand the highbrow humor I'm bringing to the table here in my miner's helmet. You're the problem. I always love when you get that on stage, too. I'm like, no, you just suck. Like, don't blame me.
I couldn't agree more. I want to ask you and Rudy this question.
Yes.
Is there one person who first inspired you to get involved in covering it, in doing it, or whatever? Is there one person you said, I'd like to interview that person?
Yeah, for me it was Alonzo Bowden. From
yes.
who won Last Comic Standing. I don't know if it was the first season. It was one of the first seasons, but
long time ago.
He was the first person I ever saw do comedy in Minnesota because I went down to Acme. I lived downtown and I walked down there because I literally Googled like things to do in Minneapolis, and Acme came up. And I got there, and it's funny because I didn't know anything about this. I didn't know that weekend shows sold out and like people wanted to go to comedy shows. But I got there and there was this couple who were in a knockdown, drag out fight with the management because they showed up too late and their seats got given away. Where it's like if you don't show up, 15 minutes before the show, they reserve the right to give your seats away. And they're like, well, we have one seat. And they're like, well, me and my wife both need to come in here. And I slid in front. I said, well, I'm by myself, so I'll take your one seat. And they brought me in. So,
that's nice.
So Alonzo Bowden was the first comic I ever got to see. And it's funny because I didn't interview him until last year is finally the first time I actually interviewed him, which was kind of a weird circle of life moment for me. And no, great guy, super funny, but that was the first time that I was ever like, oh wow, these guys who I've seen on TV who are big time celebrities, like they come to your town and they do shows at your little club, and you can feel like you could touch them if you wanted to. You probably shouldn't, but
Probably
you could
not.
if you wanted to.
Probably not.
So that would be mine. Rudy, what about you?
For me, growing up, 5th grade was A&E's Evening at the Improv. And I saw all these people on stage. I don't remember any of their names. In fact, I go back and I rewatch them because they're on Amazon Prime. And I lo and behold, Dave Chappelle has an A&E's Evening at the Improv. Doug Stanhope, guys you've never even... Oh, and this is not like the Dave Chappelle that we know today. This is a fresh-faced 19-year-old Dave Chappelle who's doing jokes about Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Not the Dave Chappelle today.
100 pounds less muscle, Dave Chappelle.
Oh, yeah,
is what you're
absolutely.
saying.
Super
Yes.
skinny.
Yeah.
He's got on a small children's T-shirt, and it's still 4 sizes too big, like that guy. But the guy that I remember watching on a loop, when I was 14, I went to a friend's house because they had HBO. And they showed me the George Carlin special.
Oh, yeah.
And he's dressed in all black, and he's kind of in that library, and he's pacing, and he's kind of hunched over at that time, and he's just kind of curmudgeon-y. And that was the first guy that really inspired me to go, oh my gosh, you can say those things on a stage, and people will listen, and then they will laugh? That's amazing. And that was the first guy that I really, clamored onto.
That makes total sense. My first attraction to comedy for me was the Ed Sullivan Show and Alan King.
Oh, yeah.
I will never forget that. I thought he was hilarious. Just loved it. Oh, I got to ask you a question, by the way. We're talking to Patrick Strait about his book, Funny Thing About Minnesota, The Rise, Fall, and Rebirth Twin Cities Comedy Scene. Is that Mordall on the bottom?
No, that is actually...
thank God. It's the best he's ever looked.
No, that's Alex Cole.
Oh, it's Alex Cole,
It's Alex
really?
Cole, yeah, with the long flowing locks.
God, I haven't seen Alex in years,
Yeah,
obviously.
he's actually back in town. He actually lives in Minnesota again. Yeah.
It does look like Mordall.
Doesn't it look like Mordall cleaned up?
I was going to make fun of you, but you're so right.
He
that
does.
look like Mordall.
It can't be Mordall. He's clean.
Yeah, I see Alex Cole. I see him running around. He's always
do
hanging
you?
at the clubs. Yeah, he still has the backwards
Great
golf
guy.
cap that he wears, and still hanging.
Oh yeah, he looks like he is fresh out of his 1985 special taping.
Yeah.
He's still the same
really?
guy, but oh no. And there's such a lure about Alex even. You know, when I was doing the book and talked to people, and as soon as you brought up Alex Cole, it was like the conversation changed in a good way. It was like, oh man, when Alex Cole would get on, it was like watching a superstar. You know, you'd go into these shows, and when Alex got up, everybody would sit down and be quiet and watch the show. And it was funny because I don't think, and I mean, I don't know, maybe Rudy, maybe you know better than I don't think he does comedy at all anymore. I mean, I think that maybe every once in a while he'll dabble, but I know that he got into music with his sons and things like that. And so, you know, when I finally got to talk to him, and then I finally got to hear some of his stories, he's such a, like, kind of like Mordahl, actually, where it's like, well, you know, I did comedy. It was just a thing. It was so, like, nonchalant. And then you hear about this legend that surrounds him, and you're like, oh, you didn't take this, you know, to be the same level of celebrity that some people did. Kind of like you were talking with, you know, Adam about before, you know, he doesn't realize, like, oh, wow, people really think that I'm a good comic, and I'm a big deal,
By the way, that's not phony either, and you could speak to that as well. When he says things like, well, I'm not that great.
Yeah.
He's not kidding.
Genuinely feels that way about himself.
He absolutely does.
Real quick with Alex Cole, I was supposed to be on a show with him last week, and I don't know if he no-showed or just decided to not do it, but he was on the bill when I got there.
Really?
And then he did not get on stage.
Really?
So I don't know if he just took the night off or didn't even realize he was booked to be on that show. I'm not sure, but but so apparently still a little bit. I mean, because he was a judge for the Twin Cities Funniest Person with a Day Job contest. But I have not seen him on stage in forever.
You're in the book.
I thought I would put him in the book. Absolutely, yes.
Forget it.
You're in the book.
If my picture can't be on the cover.
That's true.
See, I thought you were going to ask for money. I thought you were going to start asking about residuals.
Say, what's the residual deal? Look at. No, well, that's nice of you.
No, I mean, and I'm not trying to stroke your ego, but I mean, like,
Does it say what an asshole in there?
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, but that's actually a quote. I didn't write that. That's just a quote.
I'm actually going to put it here in the side.
Thanks.
But no, I mean, you were somebody who actually got mentioned a lot, and it was because, you know, back in those days, I mean, this is obviously pre-internet and pre-social media and all those things. You know, media was everything. If you could get in the newspaper, if you could get on the radio, like, that was how people learned there was stand-up comedy even in town. And nobody was giving them that except for you. You were the guy who was bringing people in here. And that's a huge deal. I mean, I think genuinely, I'm just going to go ahead and inflate your ego. Would Twin Cities comedy have gotten as big as it did in the 80s without you? Maybe. But I think that you played a very big role in the fact that it got to that level of success and that these guys actually had that type of platform and built this reputation that's still out there today. And I think it's because you were willing to bring them in and you were willing to talk to these guys.
Well, I did learn that. It was a lucky stroke deal because I was sitting, when I took that job at KQ, I was sitting in our house, our apartment in New York City, just doing voiceover. That's all I was doing. So I would literally go to a lot of shows, a lot of comedy clubs, all the rest of it, because I didn't have to get up early in the morning.
Yes.
So, you know, that was a nice deal. So basically, me doing that, when I got back to town here, I said, I think you would hear Bob a Hope on CCO about once a year. That's about it. But I said, why aren't you putting comedians on? I mean, comedians are phenomenal on the radio. Why aren't you doing that? And Dave Hamilton said, hey, Tom, you want to do comedians? That's great. That's how that whole thing started.
Yeah.
It just because I was used to it in New York. So when I got back here, it's like, well, let's do it here.
Yeah. And honestly, it's kind of funny. I mean, I feel like that's kind of the path I followed to, like you said, to cover comedy here is there was nobody doing it. And I said, why aren't we talking to some of these folks? There's a lot of cool names that are starting to come up, and we should really be spotlighting them. So same deal. And I mean, like you said, I mean, you talked about Mickey Finns and things like that. I mean, there really wasn't a lot of an understanding that stand-up comedy was even something you could go see locally at that point. I mean, like, if you knew about it, you knew about it. But I mean, otherwise you saw, like you said, you saw it on Johnny Carson, you knew it was in New York, you knew it was in LA, but like you didn't know you could go see this stuff in downtown Minneapolis and Northeast until you start talking about it.
They didn't know. Brittany, when was our first trip to Vegas? Do you remember our very first trip to Treasure Island?
No.
That had to be late 80s, early 90s?
No,
like that?
and I wasn't on the scene then.
No, I know, but I mean...
But when you listened, it was enthralling. I'll look it up.
The only reason I'm asking that is we're sitting there, and I did not know that just having comedians on would blow up as big as it got. So I'm sitting there in Vegas, we're doing a show, and all of a sudden there's this kind of commotion in the back of the room, and I had never met him before. He's from here, but I'd never met him. I look up, and there's Louis Anderson. And with Louis Anderson is a guy carrying 20 dozen donuts. He brought in.
I already know who it is, so yes.
Yeah,
Louis
makes sense.
Anderson. I mean, he brought in 20 boxes of donuts for the entire, well, not the entire audience, but 100 people or whatever the hell that would be. That'd be, 240 people, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm like, and that struck me. I remember thinking, this guy's huge. I mean, he's in television,
Yeah.
he's in movies, he's doing this, that. I mean, he's just, and that's when it struck me that this got a lot bigger than I thought it ever would. But then it really blew up after that. And I have a lot, I owe a lot to Louis Anderson. First of all, my mother and Louis Anderson were really good friends.
Really?
He was so nice to my mother. It was
Oh, yeah.
unbelievable.
Well, you'll be happy to know your quote is right where they're talking about Louis
How did you
Anderson.
find that so quickly?
Oh, I'm a genius. No, you're
Yes.
I'll tell you what, real quick, just because we already have Phil on and we don't have Phil for a long time, how about we take a break?
Oh, we don't have Phil on.
We don't have, so let's take a break. Let's tease
Okay.
that. We'll talk to Phil, and then as soon as we're done with Phil, we'll read the quote that was put in the book about Tom. If that's all right, let's do that.
Leave
I
me
knew you
alone.
wouldn't want me to. That's why I just marked it for you to read later.
You're a pill.
I know.
What if there's more than one quote? You only found one.
I only found one.
Brittany's actually helping me, so she's like, if you want to read that quote, order now on Amazon.
There you go. The name of the book, ladies and gentlemen.
Love helping people make money.
Would you read the name of the book?
Oh, yeah, of course. Funny Thing About Minnesota, The
Very
Rise and
good.
Fall and Rebirth of the Twin Cities Comedy Scene by Patrick Strait.
We shall be right back.
This is the Tom Barnard Morning Show.
There's plenty of thoughts that come into your head when you think the name Killebrew. Of course, there's the Minnesota baseball legend, Harmon, who was responsible for many a favorite memory at the old Met Stadium in Bloomington, and many a baseball that ended up in the stands and in the gloves of adoring fans from his home runs. There's Killebrew Drive, the legendary road that connects Highway 77 to the Mall of America, and a day of shopping you'll never forget. My current thoughts for the name Killebrew is fun floats in our kitchen with my kids and grandkids, a cool, refreshing break in between innings at Target or CHS Field. Or maybe a perfect sunset paired with a sweet, frothy beverage after fishing or on your favorite walleye lake. Killebrew root beer and cream soda. Grab a six-pack at a grocery or convenience store near you. I'm Tom Barnard. This spring and summer, enjoy the one Killebrew root beer and cream soda. Gluten and caffeine-free with a generous portion of delicious thrown in. Killebrew, where memories are created and legends are made. Hi, this is Tom Barnard. My friends at Niemeyer Trailer Sales at their Albertville location just off Interstate 94 would like to extend a special offer going on now through the end of July. It's for all our Tom Barnard Morning Show listeners. When you visit their Albertville location, mention that you heard me, Tommy B. I'll tell you about this July-only savings opportunity on travel trailers and pickup campers. Now, you must be a qualified buyer, but here's the really good news. Receive up to $5,000 off the advertised price on all their new in-stock inventory. As always, terms and conditions do apply. Brands include Rockwood by Forest River, Arctic Fox by Northwood Manufacturing, Cirrus by New Camp, and more. Now is a real good time to buy and take your passion on the road with Niemeyer Trailer Sales. You can't just sit around. See my guys and gals at Niemeyer's in Albertville or peruse their current inventory at Niemeyers.com. That's Niemeyers.com. Niemeyers.com. The up to the $5,000 off sales event ends July 31st. So, if you've been following my progress with MinnesotaFatLoss.com, I've lost right at 27 pounds, and you can too with the MNFatLoss.com summer special, $200 off, now only through July 30th. I'm going into my maintenance phase. I can't recommend this program any higher. Of course, any fat loss program is going to take some effort, but honestly, with MNFatLoss.com comes secret to fat loss. This program was way easier than I expected. The maintenance program allows me to add back in some more of the foods I love and still maintain my weight loss. You will absolutely be able to lose weight like I've done and save $200 with their summer special. $200 off, now through July 30th. If you want to find out the secret to losing 20 to 30 pounds in just 8 weeks, just like I'm doing, that's about a pound of fat every day. No exercise required. To schedule your free consultation, go to mnfatloss.com. That's mnfatloss.com. Results may vary. Be sure to tell the team at mnfatloss.com that Tom Barnard sent you. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome the lovely and talented Phil Mackey. SKOR Nora.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll pause here for you to all shower me with praise. Yes.
Oh, beautiful. Great. Amazing.
Yeah,
Talented.
Did you wait a second? Did you hear? Do you hear that? that in the background? What is that?
Applause.
What's that noise? Oh.
They're on a roll, baby. They won again last night.
Let's get it.
They won again yesterday, so that's a good thing. Look, Phil, am I nuts? They came back from the All-Star break a completely different team. What happened?
I mean, sometimes, I don't know, you just get away from your, get away from your family for a few days, and you come back and, okay, I guess I did miss hanging around with them. Maybe they just needed like 3 or 4 days off from seeing each other. So they are currently the hottest team in baseball, 8 wins in their last 10 games. They get, the Mariners are underachieving, but not a bad team. It's not like beating the Oakland A's for 3 games.
Right.
Where they're playing in sewage, and their record is sewage. But the good news is you get 2 more games against the Mariners, and then this weekend you travel to Kansas City.
Oh,
Kansas
God.
City. I don't know if you saw this. This morning, their owner came out, or like one of like the members of the family that owns the Royals. They came out and they wrote an open letter to the fans basically apologizing for how bad they are because they're trying to get a new stadium built.
Right.
But they're on pace to win like 50 games all summer. Oh. And so the owner came out and said, basically to sum up the 1,000 words of drivel, we're sorry. We're trying to get this thing back to where it was, and we may need your help paying for like a $2 billion stadium. So you get that team this weekend. You can keep this thing going if you keep getting some hits.
Because my long history with baseball and loving baseball forever, you say the words Kansas City, I think of George Brett every time. I just
in fact,
do.
I think it was. I saw a clip over the weekend. I think it was the anniversary this last weekend of the pine tar thing. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
Where he had too much pine tar. Didn't he hit a home run against the Yankees or something? Like a big home run, and great gamesmanship. And the Yankees said, why don't you check that bat for pine? So they set it on home plate. They like measure, if the pine tar is greater than the width of home plate, then I guess you get ejected. And he almost murdered the umpire.
God, what a great player. What a phenomenal. That's one thing about baseball. I just, look, I'm a basketball fan, a football fan. I don't know much about hockey, but, a lot of friends that played hockey back in the day. I mean, Louis Nanny, what more do you want to say about hockey than Lou Nanny, right?
Legend.
Legendary, but the baseball thing, I have loved baseball since I was 9 years old. The Twins first came to town from Washington, and I look back at all those players like the George Bretts of the world, and it just, God, great memories. Great
Who
memories.
are like, I'm gonna put you on the spot with this one, but you bring up George Brett. Who are like your favorite? Take Twins players off the board because you got a bunch of favorite Twins players.
I do have
obviously.
a bunch of favorite, and 3 that hate my guts. So that's good.
Right. So we'll take that complicated web out of the equation. What is like your Mount Rushmore? Your 4 favorite all-time baseball players, Tom?
I can't say this publicly because I'll never hear the end of it.
Well, half of them they're probably dead anyways. I mean, you have Ted Williams.
Ted Williams, God, phenomenal.
Are they still freezing his head, by the way?
That's what they say. It's sitting on a tuna can. Remember, they claimed they set it on a tuna can. You know that part's not true, but it sounds cool.
Does that help prop it up or something?
Yeah, I guess. All right, we'll start. And I'm not saying this just because we're really good friends, all the rest of it, but I loved Herbeck as a player because he was just a big fella, could hit big home runs. Here's a guy at the time, 6'5", about 240, could do the splits at first base. I said, that's my kind of guy right there, man.
I forgot. He could literally do the splits.
Literally.
Keep writing down these YouTube ideas here. See if current Kent Herbeck can get anywhere near doing the splits. Let's go out to his house with a videography team.
We can ask him on Friday.
A videography team and a physical therapy team.
Yeah, there you go. But, okay, so it can't be the Twins because all 4 of them would be Twins. There's no question about that.
George Brett sounds like George Brett.
George Brett would definitely be on the list. A couple of Boston players, I hate to admit that, but, there's so many, Phil. The problem is I have so many guys that I looked up to in baseball. Just thought, my God, these people are just, what the hell? I'm trying to think of his name. Who does the guy played for Boston and legendary player?
Carl Yastrzemski was the batting champion from back in the day.
Yeah, phenomenal player.
For me, I grew up. My dad's side of the family grew up in Kankakee, Illinois, just about 45 minutes outside Chicago. So and I was born in Minnesota. So I was a Twins fan as a kid, but the Cubs were always like my secondary team.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
So I grew up, and some of my favorite, Andre Dawson was one of my favorite players.
Yep.
In the so basically late 80s, 90s Cubs players. So for me, it's like Andre Dawson, Ryne Sandberg, Mark Grace, one of the last players to not wear batting gloves. Remember him? He just he set his cigarette down on the home plate and tapped the dirt off his cleats. And then before I found out that he was not only taking steroids but also corking his bat, Sammy Sosa was my favorite player for a long time.
Yeah, I remember that.
And there was an interleague game against Baltimore in like the early 2000s, and he had like 4 years of hitting 65 home runs every year. Nobody questioned anything, by the way. It's like, whoa, this is great. These guys are just hitting 70 bombs. And there was a game in Baltimore where Sammy Sosa, with his like elastic sleeves tight around those manufactured biceps, he hits a bomb or something. And actually, I think he broke his bat grounding into a double play. And the bat shatters, and all these other like little pieces go shattering with it. And the umpires were picking pieces of cork up off the infield grass for like 20 minutes.
Oh.
And that's when we found out, we kind of thought he was on steroids, and he's also corking his bat. So,
well, remember how much he used to sweat? Sosa sweat. Oh, my God, when he was on steroids.
Is that a steroid thing?
Oh, God, yes.
Is sweating?
Weightlifters.
Do they make you sweat more?
Oh, God, yes. You go to a gym with weightlifters, you literally better have swim fins with you.
Well, that makes sense because, right, it's a hormonal exertion extreme. And so, like, when you're pregnant, you sweat a lot, too, and it's a lot of hormones. So I could see that.
Did you get a pimply back like you get with steroids, too?
I did not.
That's good.
I got the biggest side effect was having a baby inside of me. That was probably
That'll do it.
How come there's no more bad guys? I was gonna say, how come there's no more bad guys? I mean, you mentioned like Sammy Sosa. There's no more bad guys in baseball. Like I miss the heels of baseball. Like I grew up in the like late '80s Oakland A's, like Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire, and Nolan Ryan was getting in fights with everybody. Like that's what I want back in baseball. Like bring me back guys.
Canseco's great because Canseco was a bad guy when he played, and then when he got done playing, he said, "I'm going to write a book about all the other bad guys without their permission." Here's like 150 players who did steroids. Screw everybody. I'm Jose Canseco.
That's what I'm saying. Pete Rose is out there still just floating around in the world. Like they should really start another, like the XFL of baseball, and just bring back all the disgraced guys. Let them all do as many drugs as they want, and let's just see what happens. I mean, I'd love to see Sammy hit 100 bombs on just so much TRT that you could literally melt like through a piss cup. It'd be great.
Sammy's also the only guy from that era. I feel like everyone else pretty much has either been smoked out through like they've been caught doing steroids, or they've just come out like Jason Giambi and Mark McGuire did, Alex Rodriguez. They did like the apology. And Sammy Sosa is like the only one who's still holding out. I did not. All these other guys who also hit 85 home runs in the same season did steroids. I did not do steroids. Sammy, it's okay, man. Like it was 25 years ago. Just admit it at this point, guy. Mark McGuire was great because he'd be standing in front of his locker like in 1998. In the media, I'm not like picking at the media, but he'd literally have these bottles of pills like Andro and the cream and the clear and all this stuff just in his locker while he's being interviewed. And like, is that vitamin D? Like, what is that? You could just see bottles of steroids and supplements and HGH, and nobody thought to ask him anything, or you couldn't Google anything back in 1998, really. So I guess they just let it slide. I don't know.
Okay, two quick ones. One, because I saw him, and the bat was not broken, by the way. Everybody always thinks the bat had already snapped a little bit. It was not. Jim Rice walked away from the plate at the old Met Stadium and snapped the bat in half. Give that a whirl sometime. See how far you get snapping a bat.
What, like over his knee or his head?
No, just with his arms.
What?
What?
Boom! I'm like, holy God! I mean, I can't even get it to bend, much less break it. It was unbelievable.
No, that sounds
Can't
dangerous.
fathom it. It's just wild.
And then the other big one, of course, would be Fear Strikes Out. He would be one of my favorites of all time, just what he went through and all the rest of it. Great movie. You ever seen the movie Fear Strikes Out?
I have not. It's Jimmy Pearsall, though, right?
It's Jimmy Pearsall. And one of the reasons I loved him so much, he was a great player. He played through hell with his emotions and his brain malfunctions and all the rest of it. But when he and Harry were doing the booth together, with the White Sox first, and then with the Cubs. I think Pearsall went with the to the Cubs with him, didn't he? I think.
Boy,
but I don't remember.
So you're saying he and Harry Carey were a broadcast booth for a while? That's
my God!
Blast.
So Harry gives it the, Jimmy, look behind the plate there. Look at all those women sitting back there, the wives of all the players. Look at them. And Pearsall pauses and says, bunch of filthy whores.
I can't.
On television.
I can't.
It's like, what?
And like, it'd be like that thing where you're doing something else, like have the game on in the background, and it stops you in your tracks. I'm sorry, what?
Why would you say? But Jimmy had some mental problems. You do remember that.
Yeah. Can you imagine though, like today's like Valley Sports?
Yes.
You're watching the Twins game, and Dick Bramer, and look at there's where the player wives are sitting. He throws it to Justin Morneau, and Morneau says, "Filthy whores."
Because we'd have that recorded. We'd have that sent out everywhere. That would be
tuned.
Yeah, exactly. That would be the audio you'd use in a TikTok constantly. You filthy whores.
Well, Burt Blyleven came the closest in the. Well,
Yes.
that didn't come the closest. He thought they were pre-recording their intro like 15 years ago.
Yep.
And he kind of stumbles over the stats. And by the way, it was Anthony LaPanta was filling in for Dick Bramer that day.
Oh, sure.
And I don't know. I know we can drop F-bombs here, but I'm just gonna say the F word. But Burt Blyleven goes, like, he pauses after like fumbling his statistics and goes, we got to start this effing thing over again because I just effed it up. And the video package is still playing. They're like showing Derek Jeter and Torrey Hunter and Anthony LaPanta in one of the greatest attempts at a save all time. There's like a beat of a pause, and he goes, and Torrey Hunter was 2 for 4. Like right
I love it. Everybody does
they
different
come back
things.
and they're just like, they've got the two shot. They're both live on camera, and Bert's just staring, and LaPanta just keeps going, right? Coming up next on Twins Live.
Live. The key part here is live.
Does baseball stand alone in that? More of that stuff happens around baseball than any other sport, as far as I can tell. Correct?
Oh yeah, you had who was it? It was Tom Brenneman, right, with the Reds.
Oh yeah.
He was. It was like a hot mic, and he was commenting on some gal in the crowd during a commercial break or something. And then he comes back, then like a couple innings later, and he's clearly being told by his bosses during the game, you need to apologize. We had a hot mic. Your career's probably over, but let's get through the game and see what happens. And Nick Castellanos was the hitter who was up for the Reds. And Tom Brenneman is literally like clinging to his career live on this broadcast. I'm so sorry. This does not represent who I am as a man, as a father. And there's a deep drive to left by Castellanos, and the game is tied.
Love that about baseball.
Gotta pause the career apology and call the home run.
Phil, you got to go, unfortunately. We're on a roll here, man. This has been fun.
Well, I'll see you guys later this week. I'm guessing probably back Friday here, and we can clown around with your favorite all-time baseball player.
And if you see Judd today, walk up to him and go, "You filthy whore."
Yeah.
Judd, you filthy whore, you.
Phil, thank you, sir.
All right, see you guys.
Great having you on. That was a great. I love reports like that. He gets very enthusiastic, and he loves the sports. You can tell. Gets very enthusiastic about them. But Patrick, it sounds like you're kind of a baseball fan yourself.
Oh yeah, from way back when. So it's funny because I told you I grew up in Michigan, but you know I was 9 years old when the 91 Twins were World Series, and that became my team. Like that was my team. Yeah. And I didn't move out to Minnesota for another 15 years or something.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, you talk about Herbeck and Kirby Puckett and all those guys. That was my 9, 10, 11-year-old Patrick's like wheelhouse right there. So yeah. I
just love that stuff. Oh, by the way, speaking of Detroit, you've heard of the Top Hat, haven't you?
The Top Hat. Oh, the store.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a like a club, I guess, kind of a club.
Yes. Okay.
So you know about that one?
I think I'm familiar with that one.
I still hold the record, last honky to ever go in there. It's true. And the funny thing about it was I didn't know.
No?
I don't know any better or whatever. So I walk in. I'm the only white guy in the entire place. And the great thing about it was they embraced us like, man, you get the balls to come in here. We got to buy you a drink.
Oh,
but I didn't know. I didn't know what the hell where I was going. I was just in town. doing some voice
So
work.
do they have like a plaque for you?
They
like
should.
The final honky? Is that
the
there?
final
Yes.
honky in the top
Of
hat.
course, everyone would look and they'd be like, oh, they would assume that guy just got killed. They'd be like, oh, he was the last one because he was the last one. Like, that was
They
it.
killed
So,
him.
yes.
No, they thought it was hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, didn't you know? I said, no, man, I'm not from here. Oh, let me buy you a drink,
I
man.
think that happens to you all the time because you are such a mosier. I could see you moseying in
I
all
do mosey
sorts
a
of.
lot,
You
you're
do.
right.
You are one to mosey.
I am one to mosey. There's no question.
I bet you find yourself in places where you go, should I be here?
Kind of like the top hat. But they were so nice to me, it was unbelievable. Not one person was a pain in the ass. They thought it was hilarious that I would come in there. But I said, well, I didn't know. Well, it's still hilarious.
Yeah, it is.
Because he said, you open the door, you can look in and go, well, wait a minute. But I was like, no, whatever.
Mosey on in.
Mosey on in, let's go. They serve drinks here. I'll go in there.
That's done.
Drinking it's the great equalizer. They're like, oh, you can drink. Yes, you're welcome here. We can make that work. So there you go.
Okay, one serious moment.
Let's
There's
do
a
it.
guy from Detroit.
Yes.
Does it drive you nuts what they've done to that city? Because it drives me nuts, and I'm not even from there.
You mean just kind of the gentrification of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just all the Ford, I think, is the only one still there.
I mean, it's interesting if you go to Detroit now because if you
Right.
go to the actual center of the city, it's so gentrified. They've got a light rail. They've got
I love
so much
Detroit.
family entertainment. There's so much fun stuff.
Yep.
And yeah, business is weird there. Business is
It
very
is.
weird because it used to be like you said. You'd think about it as very much like a car town. And now it's, CompuWare is there, and they've got I can't remember the mortgage company, and those are the heavy hitters in Detroit now. Nobody really talks about outside of Detroit, but they're the ones who are pumping the money into town. And it's funny because I worked in downtown Detroit when I was, fresh out of college, and that's when, everything disappeared. And that was when all the stereotypes about Detroit that you hear now, when I was working down there in 2004, that's when they were real. That's when those were very real things to see in downtown Detroit. It's not like that anymore, but it was very much my experience back then. So it's always kind of funny when you hear people talk about it now, and I'm like, oh, you should have been there in 04. That's when Detroit was Detroit.
Yeah,
So-
the whole different time. Did you ever, looking back, I don't even know how, it's a long time ago now, but the original Detroit Tiger Stadium, did you ever get to go there as a little boy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Went
Did
there a
you
bunch
really?
of times.
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
yeah.
I loved that place.
That was great. It was great.
great
Yeah.
stadium.
And that's when it was fun, too, because I remember, I don't know why I remember this, but that was when you'd have all around the stadium were all the vendors
Yep.
and all those guys.
Yep.
And you never see it anymore. That was my favorite part of going to games when I was little was, you get to go down. You never buy anything at the actual game because you go buy all your food, all your souvenirs, everything you could ever want before you ever even made it within a half mile of the stadium. That was the best part of it. So
Got to be honest, to me, to this day, it's still the most underrated city in America. I love Detroit.
Oh, absolutely. It's a great place.
It's a great town, no question
Yes,
about
and
it.
it's so funny because the people who hate Detroit, I'm always like, I don't think you've been to Detroit. If you go to
I
Detroit,
agree.
you're going to be very pleasantly surprised by. I'm apparently now the tourism director for the city of Detroit. Apparently that's what I'm doing
I
here
like
this
asking
morning.
questions like that because a lot of people, even if they did live in Michigan or they lived near Detroit, but they didn't live in
Yes.
Detroit. So that to sit down and talk to somebody about that, because I've been there many, many times. A friend of mine lives there now, as a matter of fact. Probably go to visit him someday, but it's just another one of those. The only town I've ever been to I didn't really care for, and I don't hate it, but I didn't really care for Houston.
I've never
Because
been to Houston.
It's okay, but most
Yeah.
other cities, like I said, Detroit has got that very special part of it that I just loved.
Yes. Well, and it's funny because it's when I first moved to Minnesota, I went downtown for the first time. I'd never been to Minneapolis or anything before, and it was
okay.
huge. I thought it was the coolest city I'd ever seen because I'd never
Right.
seen a big city that was thriving because Detroit really wasn't there yet.
Right.
And now it's totally flip-flopped. If you go to downtown Minneapolis, there's not
yeah.
much happening. But if you go to downtown Detroit, it's booming. There's so much cool stuff to see. They moved the hockey team down there. They moved they were down there before, but the basketball team down there. They got a new stadium. They got everything in Detroit now. So it's kind of funny. Apparently, wherever I move, I just tank cities.
You just
That's what I
ruin
do. Yes.
the whole deal.
Yes,
Way to go.
I am the plague of, I'm killing off elderly comedians.
I
I'm
know.
ruining cities. This is what I do. So
You leave a trail of death.
You
in your
bring-
way.
happy Tuesday to you guys.
You bring down cities, but you bring up podcasts. That's
Hey,
amazing. So thank
hey.
you so much, Patrick.
You know what? If I can bring up the podcast here in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, then I'll kill every comedian in that book if that's what it takes.
That's what it
I'll
takes,
do
damn
it.
it.
I'll do
more
it.
dedicated than
I'll
I am.
sink a city. I'll kill a comedian. Whatever it takes for the Tom Barnard listenership.
Oh, you're great. Thank you.
God, that would be wonderful. The one thing I really do miss, and we only got about a minute left here, but one thing I really, really miss is for years, 25, 30 years, every Thursday and Friday there would be a comedian in this studio.
Yes.
And they don't come in a lot anymore. We got lucky last week. One of
You
my
had
favorites.
Lori, right?
Lori was in
Yes,
last week.
she's great.
I love her. I love her, but you just don't see. They just don't come to town much anymore.
They don't come to town, and nobody wants to get up early. That's my that's my
very
old man
true,
rant here. Is I remember the old days. No,
When I was a kid.
Yes, I mean it was funny because we were talking about how when you were in New York, you didn't have to get up early. Every argument I've had with every comedian when it comes to media and PR is they're like, "It's what time?" And I'm like, "It's 7:30 in the morning." They're like, "Ugh." And I just call in from my bed. I'm like, "Get your ass up and get down there!" Like, you want to move tickets? Get down there. There you go. There's my old man rant about comics today. Rudy, you're the only one willing to get up early.
You know, when Mike Brody comes in on the show, I'm always like, thank you. Because at least we're setting an example for some of these younger kids that are just like, I'll just post about it on Facebook. I'm like, so you can have 7 people know that you could have hundreds of thousands of people know, or you're just going to post to 7.
Right.
And you're right. They'd rather just sit around and complain about it. I'm like, you can be proactive in your own career.
They're the same ones who will then turn around and bitch because they'll be like, well, my friend said they were going to come support my show, and nobody showed up to my show. And I'm like, well, you told the same 8 people over and over and over. No, they didn't show up.
Right.
Yeah, we're sick of seeing your set, okay?
Mm-hmm. All right. Give us a descriptor, your own descriptor of your book.
Oh, man, my own descriptor of my book. It's the, I mean, I was going to say it's the rise and fall, but it's literally what it says on the cover. I mean, it's something that came from nowhere. There was no stand-up comedy scene. It's not like there was a preface. There was no, oh, here's kind of how they were doing it, and then they built on it. It was something that came from nothing, and it was a group of individuals who didn't really know what comedy was or how you did it, and it exploded into this giant, incredible thing. And then it kind of crashed because everybody left, and then it built itself back up, and that's where we're at today. Is it's exploded back to the levels that it once was, and it's because of the work of a lot of guys in this book. So it's a lot of interesting stories. There's some controversy in there. I had several comedians call me afterwards who were not excited about what it said in those books. Louis was funny though. Louis called me because people called to bitch to him, and he goes, I read my part, and I liked my part. And I'm like, that's all I needed to hear, Louis. He didn't care if anybody else was mad. He's like, my part's good. So that's what it is. It's if you love comedy, you'll like it. If you've never been to a comedy club, you're going to recognize names. You're going to love it. And if you just want to see, again, what comics had to say about Tom Barnard, join. Funny thing about Minnesota.
I didn't read that part.
Pick it up. Yes. No, and it's fantastic. It was a lot of fun to write, and I think it's, I mean, it's not just for history nerds. How's that?
No, that's a good way to put it. I think it's a great way to put it. Well, thank you so much for coming in
Hey,
today.
thank you guys. This is a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Come back soon.
All right, sounds good.
Where do you get the book?
Oh, you can get it. I mean, if you're in Minnesota, you can get it at pretty much any bookstore. Otherwise, I mean, obviously, Amazon or wherever your favorite book retailers are. But if you're in Minnesota, go to Barnes & Noble, go to the Mall of America. I'm sure they have one copy, but you can get that one copy.
Yeah.
But every independent bookstore has it. Or you can go to the Minnesota Historical Society. If you're taking your weekend tour of the History Center, stop into the gift shop.
There you go.
And there we are.
And Patrick's going to be secretly signing random ones around Minnesota, so.
It's not even going to be secret. Like, I'm just going to sign it.
Here, I just signed this. Buy this one.
I'm going to be the guy you mentioned who was like, please laugh. That's going to be me, except in book form. Be like, please read my book.
That's me in person form. So you're fine.
Patrick, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Good
We'll
job,
take
Patrick.
a break. Be right back.
This is the Tom Barnard Morning Show. Listen live on the Tom Barnard Show app or at tombarnardshow.com.
Hi, this is Tom Barnard. My friends at Niemeyer Trailer Sales at their Albertville location just off Interstate 94 would like to extend a special offer going on now through the end of July. It's for all our Tom Barnard Morning Show listeners. When you visit their Albertville location, mention that you heard me, Tommy B., tell you about this July-only savings opportunity on travel trailers and pickup campers. Now, you must be a qualified buyer, but here's the really good news. Receive up to $5,000 off the advertised price on all their new in-stock inventory. As always, terms and conditions do apply. Brands include Rockwood by Forest River, Arctic Fox by Northwood Manufacturing, Cirrus by New Camp, and more. Now is a real good time to buy and take your passion on the road with Niemeyer Trailer Sales. You can't just sit around. See my guys and gals at Niemeyer's in Albertville or peruse their current inventory at Niemeyers.com. That's Niemeyers.com. Niemeyers.com. The up to the $5,000 off sales event ends July 31st.
The new Tom Barnard Morning Show is proud to have partners like Bradshaw and Bryant, MyPillow, and North American Banking Company founder, chairman, and president, Mike Bilski.
I've advertised on Tom's show for years, and the reason is simple. My business is recognized because of the ads, and that recognition has created growth. What business doesn't want to grow? I highly recommend the Tom Barnard Morning Show for your advertising.
Grow results for your business by partnering with the Tom Barnard Morning Show. Visit TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner.
You need to know a guy for your auto repairs, legal issues, banking, and more. The same goes for investment advice. You need a guy to help you be successful, someone you can trust, who gets results. Well, I got a guy for you. Josh Arnold. Josh gives you straight talk, not sugar-coated advice about your financial situation. Josh has seen it all when it comes to economic and market conditions, and Josh can make sure that your retirement objectives match your investments. Do yourself a favor and call Josh now for a no-obligation, 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll get a different point of view for your investments. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That is 952-925-5608. You'll be glad that you did. And tell him his guy, Tom, sent you.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. I almost had to do the Sammy Davis Jr. deal. Here come the judge. Alan Barinholtz, how are you, sir?
I'm great, Tom. How are you doing this morning?
Well, now, magnificent now that you're here, but I just, I love the show, but I'm telling you, Alan, your character, you kill that. It's wonderful.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you.
Well, you know, you're very convincing, but I don't know that I'd want to stand in front of you and be judged by you, whether it's an act or not.
Well, I've got plenty of experience standing before hundreds of judges in my career and either being chastised or complimented, so I kind of get it.
Alan Barinholtz with us, ladies and gentlemen. Jury Duty, promoting the show and his life as a lawyer turned actor. How old were you when you decided, you know what, being a lawyer is great, but I'd like to be an actor?
Well, I graduated from Ohio State 50 years ago with a theater degree, Bachelor of Fine Arts in Theater. I tried stand-up comedy for a couple of years, and then I went to law school. And it kind of never left my blood. And then both my boys are out here in Los Angeles. My older son, Ike, my younger son, John. They're successful actors and writers. And I got a phone call from my kid about a year and a half ago that we had a mutual friend who worked for a showrunner, and the showrunner said, do you know anybody who's a retired or semi-retired judge or attorney who's done some improv? And our friend said, well, yeah, we've our lawyer back in Chicago, when his kids come to town, he does some improv with them. And the next thing I know, I was asked if I want to submit a tape. I came out here for Thanksgiving, and with my kids' help, I submitted this 1-minute tape, and for some ungodly reason, I got cast in Jury Duty. And now I live out here, and it wasn't for the show that I moved out here. I've got 5 grandkids out here, so that's the reason. The show, the incredible success of the show was just a big benefit. And now I'm a member of the Screen Actors Guild, and when I'm off the phone in about an hour, I'm going to go picket like a good union member does.
There you go.
I'm having a ball.
That's how it should be. I tell you, honest to God, in my life, I've never been on a jury in my life because as a public figure, they don't like you being on juries anyway. Sure. But my wife, Catherine, many years ago, was on a double murder jury for 10 months.
Dang. Oh, my.
10 months she was on that jury. Nuts. But I will tell you something. She loves Jury Duty. She loves you. She said, that's about how it goes. She said, I know it sounds weird, but that's pretty much doing Jury Duty. You agree with that?
Well, I hope they didn't sequester her for 10 months.
No, about a month.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Yeah, it's kind of boring from a day-to-day standpoint, and I think some of that boredom, for want of better words, is what helped ground the show so that Ronald didn't get too suspicious. yeah, there's highs and lows. There's no question about it.
God, it's so amazing. Because I did, by the way, he did get convicted of double murder. He murdered his friend, or I think maybe it was his wife or sister or something, murdered her by burning the house down, and then hired a lawyer to protect him, and then murdered the lawyer, too.
Oh, my God.
So, but
Right
here's
out of Shakespeare.
Right out of Shakespeare, exactly. So Alan, he goes to prison. He just died. I think he just died in prison. But he goes to prison, and about a month after he's in prison, I get a letter at my house from him blaming me for his conviction. He said, "Your filthy wife was on my jury. This is your fault." I'm like, what?
Yeah, that makes you feel good that you don't want to look over your shoulder at night. I get that.
Alan, I have a question for you. Hypothetically speaking, say you're at a Twins game and a guy gets cheddarwurst sauce all over your brand new Ken Herbeck jersey. What sort of legal recourse does a man have?
Well, the question is, am I going to defend me for beating him up for screwing my jersey up?
There you go.
Great question.
Yeah.
We will tell the offender this.
Yes. Or am I going to sue him for property damage? I mean, you know, you got to figure out what the tactic is.
Mm-hmm. Good.
God, an amazing. So you practice law in Chicago, is that correct?
I still have my license in Illinois. I'm also licensed in Ohio, and I still do a lot of arbitration work as an arbitrator, which is like sitting as a judge but without a jury. So I'm not giving that up in case the legal career doesn't pan out. I'm sorry, the acting career doesn't pan out.
Well, it's still a legal career that you're acting, that you're a judge.
Absolutely, yeah.
It worked out beautifully, but I got to believe being a judge in Chicago is an interesting job. A little business coming through the court system once in a while.
Well, I mean, I've never been a judge in Chicago. I've been a trial attorney in Chicago and been in front of hundreds of judges. And Chicago is a great place to practice law, in my opinion. There's good judges, there's bad judges, there's judges who know the law, there's judges who know the game, so to speak, and it's a one. I have no regrets deciding to not use my theater degree and go into law, but now this is a new chapter in my life, so maybe that theater degree is coming in handy again after 50 years.
Well, I know we only have one more minute left with you, Alan, but I will tell you, and I'm very serious about this, I love the show. And one of the reasons I do love the show so much is your job on that show you're trying to keep everybody under control. They're acting like complete jackasses. It's quite the show. It's a great show.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, please come back, Alan. We'd love to have you on again, sir.
Would love to come back. You guys have a great day and a great week.
Thank you, sir. Jury Duty streaming now on Amazon's Freevee. Alan Barinholtz, he is terrific in that show.
And he starts out so warm, and you're like, how is he going to pull this off?
Yes.
And then in the show, he has this like scene where somebody breaks into his car, and all of a sudden he just kind of turns into really irritated. And they did a really good job explaining that arc, like in a way that wasn't in your face. That was like they did a great job with that.
I agree. But he is a big part of that show.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's a bigger part of that show than James Marsden.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
James Marsden,
He's good. Don't get me wrong.
he was good, but you're right. I would say that Alan is the anchor. He steers the ship, kind of like I do on this show.
Well, let me close up my computer at that one and just say we'd love to schmooze, but we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.